known as the god of death of Konoha. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1. The first person in history. I'm beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm drunk, drunk, drunk. Ha ha ha. Success. In the 21st century, next to a bustling city, there is such an uninhabited hill. There is a temple in the hill, and there is a little monk in the temple. Ahem. There is a Taoist temple in the hill. The unbridled shouts came from a young man with a grey-white robe and a bun and a handsome face. The young man is called Bai Yu. He has lived here since he was a child. Occasionally he goes down the mountain to the village or town to help people with funerals to earn some money. Innate ki. I finally cultivated it. Finally I can cast spells without asking the ancestors. Xiao Bai, we can finally meet. Bai Yu said to himself with excitement in his eyes. The Xiao Bai in Bai Yu's mouth is Bai Yu's friend since childhood. Not a human, but a dragon soul. A white dragon with the same body, lost his memory after death, and was taken into the Dharma Eye space by Bai Yu, who was born with the Dharma Eye, and has been a companion ever since. It's a pity that they could only communicate with each other. Except for the first meeting, they haven't met for 20 years. Why? His strength doesn't allow it. Only by recultivating the innate ki can he be reborn. His magic eye ability will increase greatly, and he can use a small amount of magic power in his body to enter the space and see Xiao Bai. In fact, Bai Yu also tried to enter the space, but he almost went blind. On the top of the mountain, Bai Yu stood here excitedly. The body that has shed its mortal body is not only light, but also full of strength, and has a hint of extraordinary temperament. A ray of white light flashed in Bai Yu's eyes. His eyes, which were originally just blacker and shinier than those of ordinary people, began to rotate, and the pupils turned into a tiny take-eye diagram, which could not be seen without careful observation. The mental power was concentrated in his eyes. Boom. There was a loud noise in Bai Yu's mind. This is a world of black and white. A white dragon hovered in the space, dozens of feet long, and a dragon head was almost as tall as Bai Yu, who was 1.8 meters tall. We finally meet. The white dragon spoke human words, and the sound was like thunder. Ha ha ha, Xiao Bai. I'm so happy. I remember the last time we met, I was only 3 years old. Bai Yu laughed. In this space, I can see outside. You practice very hard. I thought you would meet me when you were 40. Bai Long said. How can I not work hard? Master owed a lot of debts and died. If I don't work hard to learn magic, swordsmanship, and practice, how can I take on jobs? If I don't take on jobs, how can I make money? How can I pay back without money? How can I live? In a word, life forces me to do it. Bai Yu said sadly. You are still so real. Bai Long was obviously speechless. It would be better to be more real. By the way, according to the technique without a cover, and whose name I don't know, I have practiced the innate ki and finally I can find a girlfriend. Really, these years, every time I walk on the streets of the town, there will be a divine beast running wildly in my heart. Bai Yu said with excitement in his eyes again. What divine beast? Bai Long asked. The divine beast of the grass mud horse. Bai Yu said without hesitation. Bai Long was speechless. Also, Xiao Bai, I can finally use my innate ki to release spells and sword energy. Now it's much faster to go out to work. There's no need to bother choosing a day, and there's no need to go through tedious procedures like worshipping ancestors before doing things. It's so cool. Bai Yu said. Get out of the way. Bai Long said suddenly. What? Bai Yu was having a good time and didn't notice Bai Long's frightened. Look at this time. Boom. A deafening sound. Did I enter the space again? I didn't go out either. Bai Yu frowned and rubbed his ears, muttering in his mouth. No, you were struck by lightning. Bai Long looked at Bai Yu with a helpless look and said silently. Thunder? Hiss, it hurts shit. Bai Yu was about to speak, but the sudden pain swept through Bai Yu's spiritual body, and Bai Yu gradually disappeared. Bai Long was looking at the black and white space around him, floating quietly, as if frozen there, motionless, with no change in his eyes. Bai Yu forgot that to cultivate the innate ki, he had to overcome the tribulation. He originally stood on the top of the mountain to welcome the thunder tribulation, but he forgot it in his excitement. Bai Yu was the first person in history to forget that he was going through the tribulation, and the first person in history to be struck by the thunder without any resistance. Bai Yu, male, Taoist priest, died at the age of 20. Died suddenly. Those who don't vote for the book. Those who don't collect it. Those who don't comment. The humble mustard wants to say one thing please. Give some. It's okay to collect it, right? At most, make more comments. You can scold me too. 20th woohoo. Chapter 2 Helpless Reality. Why is there such a strong smell of blood? Bai Yu opened his eyes. He couldn't help but say after smelling the pungent smell. After waking up, Bai Yu found himself lying down with a blue sky and bright sunshine above him, but the unpleasant smell of blood ruined this pleasant scenery. Bai Yu subconsciously touched his nose, but the next second, Bai Yu looked at his tender right hand and was stunned. Bai Yu quickly looked at his body again. Is this the legendary time travel? Before Bai Yu could think of something else, or complain or get excited, the pain came like a roller coaster, stimulating and strong. The wound on his chest that was pierced by a sharp weapon had already scabbed, but with Bai Yu's large movements, it broke again. Blood gushed out, and the memories that poured out of his mind were like the last straw that broke the camel's back. In the 33rd year of Konoha, Bai Yu from Murab, 6 years old. This is a remote small village in the land of fire. It was massacred by the wandering ninjas, and only Bai Yu from Murab survived. Because of the Second Ninja World War, food and various supplies were consumed, and robbery was a frequent occurrence. Village? I'm on the roadside, on the street. My name is Bai Yu. TSK. These people died so miserably. Hiss, it hurts. Bai Yu received the memory, sat on the ground, looked at the corpses around him, and couldn't help but complain. As a result, the wound on his chest was affected. Feeling that his health value was decreasing, Bai Yu couldn't help but feel helpless. Is he going to die again? Bai Yu said softly. But Bai Yu has never been a person who sits and waits for death. Bai Yu then checked his body for a long time. It's okay, it's okay. The Dharma Eye is still there. But the innate ki is gone. Sudden. Bai Yu was a little helpless and confused. The names in the memory, Hashirama Senju, Jiraiya, the 3 ninjas of Konoha, Orochimaru, Tsunade, etc. This looks like Naruto. But I haven't seen it either. This is really ridiculous. Aren't time travelers all prophets? Why don't you send me some classic of mountains and seas, Romance of the 3 Kingdoms, or something like that? You picked something I haven't seen. Fortunately, I can tell fortunes, but I don't know if it's accurate here. Bai Yu's brain spun rapidly in an instant. It wasn't until his face turned pale and he was in a trance that Bai Yu remembered that his chest was still bleeding. Hiss, the river bends and flows eastward. Xiao Bei, come out. Bai Yu knew that Xiao Bei, as a dragon, had all kinds of skills, so it shouldn't be a problem to heal this wound. He didn't know if he could use the power of the Dharma Eye now. The Dharma Eye can capture souls and capture dead souls into his Dharma Eye space. The souls will dissipate in the space bit by bit and become nutrients for the space. But Xiao Bei is an exception because Xiao Bei and Bai Yu signed a contract for some unknown reason. I don't know why. Bai Yu didn't ask and Xiao Bei didn't say. Well, that's it. Bai Yu was surprised to find that, although he no longer had the innate ki, he could still use the power of the Dharma Eye, and he felt at ease, and no longer felt that his body was overdrawn every time he used it. It might be because he had merged with the original soul of this body. A white light appeared in front of Bai Yu, and a white dragon several meters long, like a snake, appeared in front of Bai Yu without a body as tall as a building. Bai Yu was instantly frozen. Xiao Bei, can you tell me what you have experienced? Bai Yu said with an unnatural expression. My memory was restored when you came to this world. Bai Long's voice was still like thunder. Congratulations, Xiao Bei. Then what? Bai Yu congratulated first, and then asked. I have restored my memory. Don't you have anything to ask? Bai Long was a little surprised. He thought Bai Yu would ask what kind of existence it was in its previous life, why it died, how it signed a contract with Bai Yu, and so on. What are you asking? The past is not important. You're dead, and now it's like being reborn. The memories of your past life are just memories. You have stories, I have wine, and we are good friends. Bai Yu rolled his eyes and said, okay, ahem. Bailong was shocked. In order to keep the power of your Dharma Eye, I dispersed 95% of my energy to nourish your Dharma Eye. Fortunately, this world is full of natural forces, that is, spiritual energy, which I can absorb and restore my cultivation. But you can see that my body has shrunk seriously, and it will probably take a long time to recover. Bailong said, well, you are worthy of being my Zio Bei. I'm so touched. Come, help me heal the wound on my chest. I'm dying. After saying that, Bai Yu fainted happily. Bailong looked at Bai Yu, whose brain circuits were a bit big, and shook his head helplessly. Bailong had 4 dragon claws. He stretched out one and placed it on Bai Yu's chest. A ball of water seeped out of the dragon claw. The water ball was filled with Bailong's energy. It could be said that this ball of water was actually energy. Bailong was a water dragon, a leader in the water world. The water ball wrapped Bai Yu's wound and recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. When the wound disappeared, Bailong's figure gradually disappeared and returned to Bai Yu's Dharma Eye space. I don't know how long it took. Bai Yu was awakened by a smell of decay. Oh my. Bai Yu pinched his nose and ran fast. I want to be free like in my dreams. Run forward. Facing. It seems that the village is too remote, and no one even cleans up the corpses. Bai Yu ran out of the village and came to a small river. He jumped in with his clothes on. There was no way he would be covered in blood and dirt. In the river, Bai Yu washed his clothes, then found a clean stone and put his clothes on it. After washing himself, he used the most primitive method to make a fire, broke off a few branches, and dried his clothes. Clothes dry quickly in summer. Bai Yu put on his clothes. The clear river surface reflected Bai Yu's face on the water. A young face. Although he is young, he already has some potential as a male god. Although Bai Yu has a big personality, the eyes on this face are a bit cold. Ah, ha ha ha. I'm the most handsome indeed. Gurglu. Before Bai Yu could say a few words to himself, his stomach had already made a protest. Ah, let's see if we can catch a few fish. Bai Yu broke off a longer and sharper branch again. Although he had no energy and the ancestors were useless, but his swordsmanship was still there. Although this weak body could not exert some strength, it was still possible to catch a fish. After eating 3 delicious grilled fish, Bai Yu touched his stomach with satisfaction. The oldest method of making healthy water. Bai Yu struggled to make some water. After eating and drinking enough, it was already dark. He had no choice but to sleep on the spot and wait until the next day. Chapter 3. The bandits who massacred the village. The morning glow shines on Bai Yu's face. After a night of rest, Bai Yu's spirit has obviously recovered well. Bai Yu opened his eyes, ate a meal of grilled fish again, and then practiced swordsmanship with a branch as a sword. The outer gate watched the excitement. Bai Yu's swordsmanship was chic, sharp, smooth, and cool. The inner gate watched the doorway, the mysterious sword moves, the tricky angles, and every move, and every style were flexible and changeable. After a set of swordsmanship was finished, Bai Yu exhaled a breath of turbid air, and his whole body was refreshed. My physical fitness is still not good. Bai Yu compared the daily practice of sword dancing in the past, and couldn't help but sigh bitterly. The land of fire. Remember to go in this direction should be Konoha village. Let's go this way first. Bai Yu made up his mind, and began to move towards Konoha village. Zio Bei, there are so few people in this world. There are so many trees. So boring. Bai Yu, who was on the road, chatted with Bailong very boredly. You've only walked a mile. Bailong said speechlessly. Okay, I'll hold it in for a while. Bai Yu walked lazily with his head in his arms. Are all the magic skills and techniques you used before useless? Bailong asked. Magic skills are useless. The ancestors are useless. I haven't tried practicing yet. I'll try it now. After Bai Yu finished speaking, he sat on the ground, holding Yuan Yi. The key sank into Danshan, and calmed his breath, and concentrated his mind. After a long time, puff, Bai Yu spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face turned pale instantly. How are you? Bailong asked with concern. No. The spiritual energy in this world is a bit difficult to deal with. In my memory, the mainstream power of this world is chakra. I don't know how to refine it. Bai Yu wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth helplessly and said, "Hey, let's hurry up first. There will always be a chance." Bailong saw that Bai Yu was fine and said with a sigh of relief, "Well, I don't know much about this world. After all, the soul of this body was just a 6-year-old child. But we should think about how to make money. Money is indispensable, no matter where we are." Bai Yu continued on his way and said to Bailong, "Set up a stall. Do your old business." Bailong said, "Fortune telling? I don't know if this ability can be used in this world." Bai Yu responded, "Open your Dharma Eye. See the yin and yang in the vast world and peek into the secrets of heaven with the 5 element and 8 trigrams. The secrets of heaven are revealed." Bai Yu opened his Dharma Eye while on his way, peeking into the secrets of heaven in the dark. Puff. Without a doubt, Bai Yu vomited blood again. What kind of power is this? It can actually peek into the Pure Land. An old man in a white robe, with horns on his head and a scepter in his hand suddenly opened his eyes and murmured, "Not working again." Bailong said helplessly when he saw Bai Yu spitting blood again, "It's not that I can't do it. It seems that my ability of the Dharma Eye has changed. I just saw countless souls wandering in one place. Some were sucked into a black hole, and some were still wandering." Bai Yu silently wiped the blood from his mouth and said, "What's going on?" Bailong asked curiously, "How should I know? Fortune telling is no longer possible. What else can I do?" Bai Yu was a little helpless. Barbecue. Simple, high profit, and a monthly income of over 10,000 is not a dream. Bailong said playfully, "Let's see if there are any barbecues in this world first." One day later. "Oh no. You robbers. Damn it. You will not die well." The scene in front of Bai Yu made him, who was originally happy, gradually become gloomy. In a village that was neither big nor small, a group of bandits were slaughtering the village with flames and bloodstains. Is it all caused by the war? Bai Yu thought about it for a while. Without hesitation, the tiny body rushed towards the hellish scene in front of him. Bajiquin, elbow strike. As a Taoist priest, Bai Yu's boxing and kicking skills are definitely not a problem. An adult bandit was directly knocked away by Bai Yu's force. However, due to his poor physical fitness, he was only knocked away. Fortunately, due to the sudden attack, the bandit's weapon, a long knife, fell to the ground. According to the thinking of this world, this slender single-edged weapon can also be called a knife or a sword. Bai Yu quickly picked up the long knife, made a sword flower, and looked at the bandits surrounding him vigilantly. "Little ghost, you are so brave. You dare to knock me away." Bandit A said viciously. "Why do you want to massacre the village?" Bai Yu said with a fierce light in his eyes. "Massacre the village? Haha, in this era of war, I'm doing good things. The sooner you die, the sooner you go to the Pure Land. There is still enough food in this village." Bandit B said with a grin. "Yoshi, brothers, let's continue to do good things." Bandit C proudly greeted the bandits around him and continued to act. "Hey, do good deeds, right? I want to do good deeds today, too." Bai Yu smiled, and after saying that, he also started to act. "Haha, how funny. Is this kid going to join us?" Bandit Ding grinned and said something, but before he could finish, he felt a chill on his neck, and then felt something hot flowing out. He wiped his hands with blood, and he was killed by Bai Yu's sword. There is a war ahead. Let's go and see. In the distance, there were two people dressed in ninja costumes, a man and a woman. The female ninja had yellow hair, while the male ninja was a little feminine, with snake-like vertical pupils, purple eyeshadow, and pale skin. Smelling the blood and seeing the fire, the female ninja frowned. It was this female ninja who spoke. "Yeah." The male ninja responded calmly. Then the two of them sped up. Seeing the battle in front of them, the two ninjas did not choose to take action, but chose to wait and see. This child has a high level of swordsmanship. The male ninja's eyes flashed with a gleam, and he licked his tongue and said, "Indeed, one person fought against 8 adult bandits, and there were 5 bandit corpses at his feet. This child is a good seedling. If possible, he should be brought back to Konoha." The female ninja said decisively, "Tsunade, you really care about the village. The male ninja said playfully. Orochimaru, don't you want this child to go to Konoha? Tsunade frowned and said. Such a good swordsmanship, only a samurai can have such attainments. The paradise of samurai is the Iron Kingdom. Orochimaru said with a sneer. No matter what, I will take this little brat back to Konoha. Do you want to experience my tenderness to Jiraiya? Tsunade clenched her fists and said calmly. Everything is up to you. Hearing this, Orochimaru's calm eyes flashed a trace of unnaturalness, and he said quickly. Let's go and help this kid. He can probably kill these bandits, but he's too slow. We still have to go back to see the old man. Tsunade said and rushed over. Tenshikaku. Bai Yu saw a woman rushing over from a distance. With one step, the ground cracked, and the houses collapsed, like a miniature earthquake. The remaining 8 bandits died instantly. Bai Yu's mouth twitched slightly. When I have chakra, with the blessing of chakra, it won't be a problem to kill 8 people with one sword. TSK. Please leave more comments, so that I don't feel alone. Chapter 4. Become a master and a disciple. Looking at the desolate surroundings and the cracked ground, Bai Yu shook his head helplessly. It seems that this world is still quite dangerous. Bai Yu looked up at the yellow-haired well-built woman in front of him, and the man with eyeshadow following behind. Bai Yu inserted the long knife in his hand into the ground. He smiled and said, "Thank you, beautiful lady." Then Bai Yu put on a smile that he thought was very handsome. But he forgot that he was only 6 years old now. This smile was just cute in the eyes of others. Not bad. A sweet-mouthed kid. Are you a child from this village? Tsunade was very happy to hear this. After all, no woman would not want to hear words that praise her appearance. Tsunade put her hands on her hips and said loudly, "Sister, I'm not from this village. My village was massacred by bandits a long time ago. It's in that direction." Bai Yu heard Tsunade's address and realized that he was only 6 years old now. He pointed helplessly and said, "So you are from that village? Are all the people in your village so good at swordsmanship?" Tsunade and Orochimaru passed by a massacred village in the same direction as Bai Yu pointed. But we still have to check it out. After all, we are still at war. A trace of calmness and caution flashed in Orochimaru's eyes at this time. Well, that's about right. I'm the weakest. But the village has always been talking about peace and not willing to kill people. I almost died, so I changed my mind. I want to protect the people I want to protect. Although they are all dead, there should be more in the future. Bai Yu said helplessly, because he needed an excuse to cover up his identity as a time traveler and the reason for his swordsmanship. As for protecting others, Bai Yu did not lie. Foolish belief. Orochimaru couldn't help but say when he heard it. Strange power. Bang. Boom. Tsunade heard Orochimaru's words without hesitation and punched directly. Orochimaru turned into a parabola, knocked down a tree, and landed. "Kid, what are your plans next?" Tsunade looked at Bai Yu's tender face full of calmness, thinking that Bai Yu looked down on everything after the massacre of the village, and couldn't help but feel sympathy. Unexpectedly, Bai Yu was really calm. I'm planning to go to Konoha village. I only know this place." Bai Yu said awkwardly. This is the truth. The land of fire is so big, but he really only knows Konoha village. "Yoshi, how about becoming my disciple? Jiraiya has so many disciples, I can't fall behind." Tsunade couldn't help but think of her younger brother after she finished speaking. Looking at Bai Yu's eyes, there was always a bit of her younger brother's shadow, so she had an idea. "Jiraiya, are you Tsunade-sama? Was that Orochimaru just now?" Bai Yu was stunned. He said in disbelief. "Is the world so small? What a coincidence." Bai Yu met one of the few people he knew. "Do you know us?" Tsunade was also stunned. "I know. I had a fight with Hanzo. The disciple of the third Hokage is called the Three Ninjas of Konoha. After the village was found out, the most talked about thing was you. This is the news brought back by the uncle, who went out to sell goods. By the way, I heard that you are the granddaughter of the first Hokage." Bai Yu smiled. "It's so cool under the big tree. Coming to this world, knowing nothing, having such a great master is definitely a great convenience." But then Bai Yu was a little confused. Konoha's three forbidden. It seems that Tsunade is a representative of gambling. Well, just an empty name. Tsunade clenched her fists and said faintly. Tsunade thought of her tragically dead brother when she heard the words, and always felt that it was not that simple, but Tsunade was a little sad about the response of the third generation. Tsunade's contemplation made Bai Yu unhappy. What about the promise to accept a disciple? Why is there no movement? Disciple Bai Yu, meet the master. Bai Yu gritted his teeth, knelt on the ground, and kowtowed 3 times. Bai Yu was a Taoist priest before he crossed over, and he dared not neglect the solemn and sacred ceremony of the apprenticeship ceremony. Master, I'm sorry that I can't serve you tea, Bai Yu said with a serious and sincere expression. Tsunade was stunned. This kind of etiquette seems to be uncommon. Only those famous families will use it, and now the etiquette is directly emitted. However, Tsunade still likes disciples who know the rules and are polite, but Tsunade's personality will naturally not show it. Okay, get up quickly. Master doesn't like to drink tea, he likes to drink wine. Haha. Tsunade helped Bai Yu up, and said with a smile. Congratulations, Tsunade. Orochimaru came back at some point, and stood quietly beside Bai Yu. Lord Orochimaru. Bai Yu bowed to Orochimaru. Since Orochimaru is one of the 3 ninjas, he still has to show the proper respect. Yu-jun, did the adults in the village teach you this etiquette? Orochimaru saw Bai Yu's movements and quickly bowed, then asked. Yes, the people in the village pay a lot of attention to etiquette. Bai Yu said. It seems that Yu-jun's village is not simple. Tsunade, it seems that you have accepted a good disciple. Orochimaru licked his tongue, and then recalled Bai Yu's excellent swordsmanship, and said with interest in his eyes. Of course. Let's go back to the village. Tsunade said proudly. Then he roughly carried Bai Yu on his shoulders like a sack, and regardless of the surviving villagers, he and Orochimaru quickly headed for Konoha village. Sure enough, this is a lot faster. What do you think, Xiaobei? Bai Yu looked at the rapidly receding scenery, and communicated with Bai Long in his heart. It is indeed a lot faster. I like this world very much. The spiritual energy is not only pure, but also abundant. I recover a lot faster. Bai Long said. Bai Yu dived into the Dharma Eye space, and saw Bai Long's body reappearing several dozen feet long, his eyes full of joy. Wow, this recovery speed is too fast. Has he recovered his full strength? Bai Yu said excitedly. It's still early. It's just that the body has recovered. The current strength is about the same as the 2 guys outside. If the 2 of them come together, I will have to spend some effort to kill them. Bai Long thought for a while and said. That's not bad. Those 2 guys are senior ninjas. They are said to be very powerful. Bai Yu said. Well, it can be seen that the strength exposed by that woman when attacking those bandits should not be used to her full strength. Bai Long thought about it and said. TSK, when I know how to possess chakra, I will definitely be the best in the world. Bai Yu said arrogantly. Magic spells are useless. The ancestors are useless. I advise you to stop jumping around, or you will die. Bai Long said ruthlessly. Thunder crackle, stop being ruthless. Bai Yu said indignantly. Along the way, there were 2 senior ninjas to escort them, and there were also 3 humanoid vehicles. The group arrived at the gate of Konoha easily. Chapter 5 Encounter with Namikaze, Minato and Kushina. With Tsunade and Orochimaru present, Bai Yu and his group came to the Hokage building, the office of the 3rd Hokage, without any obstruction. Tsunade kicked the door of the Hokage's office open. Old man, Orochimaru and I are back. Tsunade carried Bai Yu and walked in. Orochimaru seemed to be used to it, and followed him in calmly. Bai Yu looked inside, and saw an old man with a black face but helpless. He was not that old, but only old. This should be the 3rd Hokage. Tsunade, can you not kick my door next time? The 3rd Hokage said helplessly. TSK. This is my disciple. Tsunade obviously ignored the words of the 3rd Hokage, and put Bai Yu down and said. Oh. The 3rd Hokage began to praise Bai Yu after hearing this. My name is Bai Yu. Meet the Hokage. Bai Yu was secretly happy. This is the leader of Konoha village. It's good to be under the big tree. He bowed and said seriously. Ah. Oh okay. My name is Sarutobi Hiruzen. Where is your home? Didn't Tsunade kidnap you? Sarutobi Hiruzen responded quickly when he saw Bai Yu's bow. Seeing such a polite child, Sarutobi Hiruzen instantly suspected that he was kidnapped by Tsunade and then sold for gambling money. Old man, what are you talking about? Tsunade was furious when she heard this. Lord Hokage, I'm an orphan whose village was massacred. My master accepted me as her apprentice. She didn't kidnap me. Bai Yu was speechless. Why are people in this world so weird? HMPH. Old man, this time I will stay in the village for 3 months. I will teach him in these 3 months. I will go to the battlefield in 3 months. You quickly get Bai Yu's identity and send him to the ninja school in 3 months. Let's go. Tsunade carried Bai Yu away roughly again, leaving behind the dark-faced third Hokage and Orochimaru, who seemed to be used to it. Hey, don't I have face? Sarutobi Hiruzen said helplessly. He looked at Orochimaru. Finally, there is a reliable disciple. Orochimaru, tell me about him. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with relief while sitting on the chair. Yes, teacher. Orochimaru smiled and began to report the mission, as well as where Jiraiya went to collect folk songs, and the origin of Bai Yu. Bai Yu, you will live here from now on. This is the clanland of the Senju clan. There are many rooms. You can find one at random. Finally, you can have fun for a while. When they arrived at the Senju clanland, Tsunade excitedly changed her clothes and said while flipping through her wallet, "Yes, master." Bai Yu responded after hearing this and went to clean up a room. Hey, wait a minute. This is for you. After cleaning up the room, go buy a set of clothes. You can throw away this set of clothes. Tsunade took out 2 bills from her wallet with a painful look on her face and handed them to Bai Yu. Thank you, master. Bai Yu looked at the hole in his chest where he was stabbed and the scratches he had suffered in the previous battle with the bandits and happily took the bills. Well, Oklahoma, I'm going to have fun, Tsunade said and walked away with big strides. Bai Yu looked at the big word gamble on Tsunade's back and the corner of his mouth twitched. Bai Yu shook his head and began to clean up a small detached house next to Tsunade's residence. This room is not very big, similar to a wing room. It is very simple to clean up, and after cleaning up, he left the Senju clan. But Bai Yu found a problem. He didn't know how to go. Just when Bai Yu was helpless, a conversation came from a distance. Minato, I heard that Lady Tsunade is back. We have lent her the money we saved for a long time, and it's time to get it back. Okay. Kushina, slow down. Hurry up, sissy. Otherwise she will run away again. Hi. Soon, 2 people appeared in front of Bai Yu. A girl with red hair and a boy with blonde hair. Bai Yu estimated that the 2 were about 13 years old. Little brat, why did you come out of Tsunade-sama's house? Are you going to steal something? Oh, that's not right. All the valuable things in Tsunade-sama's house should have been sold. Why are you here? The red-haired woman said viciously at first, then froze for a moment and asked in confusion. Kushina, it's not good for you to misunderstand others like this. The yellow-haired man smiled with a kind smile. Minato, you sissy, shut up. Kushina glared at Minato Namikaze and said, Minato Namikaze smiled apologetically at Bai Yu and said nothing. Well, I'm Tsunade-sama's apprentice. I just cleaned up the room and planned to go out to buy some clothes. Bai Yu touched his nose helplessly and said, Tsunade-sama accepted an apprentice? Where is Tsunade-sama? Kushina was stunned and asked. She went to find happiness. Bai Yu said. Is she wearing a green robe with a gambling word on the back? Kushina asked quickly. Yes. Bai Yu said. It's all your fault. You walked so slowly. And your teacher, why did he tell Lady Tsunade that we had savings? Kushina's face was dark, and she looked at Minato Namikaze with great resentment. Hey, calm down first. There are people here. Minato Namikaze said with a smile on his face, and waved his hand. Humph. Hello. Sorry, I misunderstood you just now. My name is Kushina Uzumaki. His name is Minato Namikaze, and he is Jiraiya's apprentice. Kushina first snorted at Minato Namikaze. Then she smiled and said to Bai Yu. Kushina is also a girl with a cheerful personality. It doesn't matter. My name is Bai Yu, a disciple of Lady Tsunade. Do you know how to get to the clothes shop? I just got here today, and my master didn't tell me how to get there. Bai Yu said a little embarrassedly. Are you back from the battlefield? Minato Namikaze asked, looking at the holes and scratches on Bai Yu's body. No, my village was massacred by bandits. When I passed by another massacred village, I met Lady Tsunade. I was brought back by my master. Bai Yu said with a smile. After hearing Bai Yu's words, Kushina's heart was filled with the radiance of motherhood and she said, what a coincidence, I'm also an orphan. From now on, I will protect you. Let's go, I will take you to the tailor shop to buy clothes. Hearing this, Bai Yu and Namikaze Minato's mouths twitched. Is it lucky to be an orphan? What a coincidence. Question mark? However, Bai Yu could feel that Kushina was just thick-skinned and kind-hearted. He didn't say anything. Namikaze Minato looked at Bai Yu kindly and smiled apologetically. Bai Yu returned a smile that it was okay. On the way, Bai Yu talked a lot with Kushina and Namikaze Minato. Bai Yu didn't know a lot of things, so Kushina directly threw Bai Yu to Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato showed great patience for Bai Yu, a child with 100,000 problems. Chapter 6 Bringing the habit of eating skewers to Konoha. Brother Minato, does Konoha village have skewers? Bai Yu ignored the increasingly prosperous streets around him because his thirst for knowledge had exploded and he was madly absorbing information from this world. What are skewers? I know about barbecue, and I also know that meatballs are skewered. Are they grilled meatballs? Namikaze Minato was stunned when he heard this because he really didn't know this thing. That would be great if there weren't any. This is a snack in my village. If there aren't any in Konoha village, I can set up a stall to make money from skewers. Bai Yu's eyes lit up and he said excitedly, is it delicious? Brother Bai Yu, when did you plan to make this? Skewers, yes, skewers. Kushina's eyes lit up when she heard this and asked hurriedly, is this a foodie? An idea flashed through Bai Yu's mind. Let's not buy clothes first. Do you know where I can set up a stall? Where can I buy stoves and charcoal? I also need to buy skewers and seasonings. Bai Yu asked hurriedly. For a stall, a deposit of 1,000 taels is required. I need to go and apply for. Kushina began to explain. Namikaze Minato didn't care about such things, so he didn't know. Wait until Kushina finished speaking. The light in Bai Yu's eyes faded. What a pity. The stall still needs to be processed. The things to buy are so far away. The three of us can't handle it. Let's go buy clothes. Bai Yu said helplessly. Namikaze Minato didn't say anything, just a kind smile. But Kushina was different. Obviously, she was very enthusiastic about unknown delicacies. Minato, quickly clone. Go buy things, and go through the formalities. Let's take Bai Yu to buy clothes first. Kushina said anxiously. Hey. Okay. Shadow clone technique. Under Bai Yu's surprised eyes, Namikaze Minato made seals with both hands, and several identical Namikaze Minato appeared around. Bai Yu's eyes regained their brilliance, and he quickly told Namikaze Minato what to buy. Namikaze Minato's clones nodded and dispersed. By the way, this is the money I have. Master only gave me 1,000 taels. I'll give you the rest when I have money. Bai Yu thought that he hadn't given Minato Namikaze money yet, so he quickly handed the money in his arms to Minato Namikaze. We both have this little money. Consider it a loan from us. Pay me back when you have money. Kushina said generously. Minato Namikaze didn't take the money, but smiled kindly. Bai Yu felt warm at heart when he saw this. Well, I'm not hypocritical. The skewers will definitely be a big hit. Bai Yu said with a smile. Bai Yu bought a set of black clothes and didn't choose ninja sandals because Bai Yu didn't like open-toed sandals. Bai Yu didn't buy expensive clothes. He was still growing up and he didn't know what was going on in this world. He was growing so fast. For example, Minato Namikaze was almost 1.75 meters tall at the age of 13. After a few people chatted for a while, Minato Namikaze's clones all came back. When he came to his stall, Minato Namikaze was very considerate and wrote the stall owner's name Bai Yu. Bai Yu said that this was really heartwarming. Minato Namikaze was responsible for setting up the stall, and Kushina also made a few clones to cut the meat skewers. Bai Yu was preparing the barbecue seasoning. Soon it was done. Brother Bai Yu, let's get started. Kushina looked at the strings of ingredients next to the stove, smelled the barbecue seasoning prepared by Bai Yu, and said with some anticipation, "Light the fire. We have to wait a while." Without waiting for Bai Yu to finish, fire escape, small fireball technique. Kushina on the side directly used a mini fireball to ignite the charcoal in the stove. Bai Yu couldn't help but feel a little envious. Is this a ninjutsu? So convenient. There is also the previous clone technique. Bai Yu saw this and took a bunch of skewers without hesitation. He spread them directly on the stove. He brushed them with oil skillfully. Sizzle, the charcoal fire was strong, and the sound of grilling meat sounded. Along with the sound, there was also the smell of meat. Bai Yu saw that the meat had changed color, sprinkled a handful of seasoning on it, and the fragrance was stronger, and brushed it with oil again. The fragrance suddenly escalated. Kushina on the side smelled the fragrance and swallowed her saliva directly. Namikaze Minato swallowed his saliva obscurely. "Okay, come and try it." Bai Yu handed the grilled skewers to Kushina and Namikaze Minato. The two of them didn't say anything nonsense and automatically understood the essence of skewers. They swallowed it in one bite. "It's so delicious." The voice was loud and the expression was exaggerated. Kushina praised exaggeratedly. Namikaze Minato gave Bai Yu a thumbs up. The fragrance spread, coupled with Kushina and Namikaze Minato's really delicious eating, instantly attracted ninjas and civilians on the street. "How much is it?" At this time, a ninja wearing a Konoha forehead protector swallowed his saliva, walked over and asked. "Big opening promotion. 1 skewer only costs 10 taels, 5 skewers are 45 taels, and 10 skewers are 85 taels." Bai Yu said with a smile. "Give me 10 skewers. You can choose the skewers. There are many kinds." Bai Yu said with a smile. "Ah, that's too much. Forget it. 5 skewers of meat. 1 skewer each for the rest." "Okay, big sister, I'll charge you 130 taels." Bai Yu shouted to Kushina, who had finished eating. "Got it." Kushina really wanted Bai Yu to grill a few more skewers, but she knew that a customer was coming. She responded helplessly. "I'm giving you 2 skewers of meat." Bai Yu smiled and said to the ninja as she grabbed the skewers. "Aha. Thank you." A lot was grilled this time, and the aroma was even stronger. As a result, a long line formed in front of Bai Yu's stall. The sun was setting. "Sorry, everyone. Today is a trial operation, and very few ingredients have been prepared. 3 months later, when the ninja school is over, we will resume business." Bai Yu looked at the empty stall, and then looked at the crowd lining up in the long line. He had no choice but to hold a microphone and shout loudly. Under the abusive crowd, Bai Yu and the other two packed up their things and left quickly. Anyway, the stall couldn't run away. In front of the Senju rental house. "This is the capital. These are the net profits. 1 for you, and 1 for me, 1 for me, 1 for you, 1 for me, 1 for me." Kushina held a thick stack of banknotes in her hand. This was a special exchange of small denominations for 100 taels at the bank. Kushina was responsible for collecting the money, so the money was in her hands. "Why is it 1 for you? This is for Bai Yu. Then why is it 2 times, and 1 for me?" The first time was Kushina's, and the second time was for Minato Namikaze, but the money that belonged to Minato Namikaze was automatically collected by Kushina. For this, Minato Namikaze could only watch it all silently. "I made 3,000 taels today. Haha. So happy." Bai Yu happily put the thick banknotes into his arms and said, "Well, I made 6,000 today. Not bad. I caught up with 2D level missions." Kushina also said with a smile. She really likes being with Bai Yu. Not only did she not lose money, but she also made money. "It's getting late. We'll leave first. I'll come to see you another day. Remember to tell us when you set up the stall." "Okay. Bye. Bye. Bye." Seeing Kushina and Namikaze Minato leave, Bai Yu happily pushed open the door and walked in. Chapter 7. Inch Power. Back. As soon as Bai Yu entered the yard, he saw Tsunade in the pavilion in the yard, drunk and staggering. When Tsunade heard the noise, she was lying on the table and raised her head drunkenly and said, "Yes, teacher, I'm back. Let me help you go back and rest." Bai Yu said, and without waiting for Tsunade to speak, he helped Tsunade up and walked to the room. Well, Tsunade did not stop Bai Yu, but enjoyed the feeling of being taken care of. She couldn't help but think of her younger brother, Senju Naoki. But Tsunade saw that Bai Yu's chest was bulging. Her eyes lit up. Tsunade made a prompt decision, reached into Bai Yu's arms, and took out the thick stack of banknotes. Bai Yu was a little surprised. So much money. How did you get it? Did you steal it? Tsunade instantly used chakra to dissolve the alcohol in her body. She thought Bai Yu went to steal money. As her own disciple, she couldn't have this habit. Hearing this, Bai Yu hurriedly told Tsunade about what happened today. Don't make a scene. You finally have a big treat to lean on. Don't lose it because of misunderstanding. I didn't realize it. I didn't expect you to have such a talent. Alright. The teacher will keep the money for you. I'm going to find happiness. You go and have a rest. Tsunade left Bai Yu with a cool back. What? I want to know how to get chakra. Bai Yu returned to his room helplessly. The next morning, Bai Yu was already used to getting up early. There was a weapon rack and a martial arts field in the yard. He took a wooden sword from the rack. The only drawback was that these wooden swords were all single-edged. Why were there no real weapons? They were all sold by Tsunade. As Bai Yu danced with the sword, the sound of swords rang in the martial arts field, and the sound of breaking wind also sounded. Bai Yu seemed to be immersed in his own artistic conception. Crack. The wooden sword broke into several sections, and Bai Yu also finished practicing a set of sword techniques. You got up really early. Tsunade also walked out of the room with sleepy eyes. Sorry, master, I disturbed your rest. Bai Yu bowed his hands respectfully. No. You. Did you break this wooden sword when you were practicing sword? Tsunade first waved her hands, sobered up, and asked when she saw the debris on the ground. Yes. I'm sorry, master. Bai Yu said awkwardly. I was so excited just now that I accidentally used the inch force. This sword is not strong. It was only used in the last few moves. If it was used at the beginning, it would have broken long ago. How did you do it? Tsunade seemed calm on the surface, but in fact, her heart was still very turbulent. Compared to an ordinary person, he could actually break a refined wooden sword, and he was practicing without fighting at all. If Bai Yu knew Tsunade's thoughts, he would definitely say, stupid natives, you can't understand the power of Chinese martial arts. I used some of the inch force principles passed down from my family and accidentally broke the sword. Bai Yu said. Oh. Come on, show it. Tsunade's eyes flashed with interest. Then he threw a wooden sword to Bai Yu. Bai Yu took the wooden sword and casually made a sword flower. This handsome operation made Tsunade's eyes light up. Inch force. Bai Yu exerted all the inch force that this body could exert without reservation. Kankab. After the wooden sword made a dull sword sound, it broke into pieces under the heavy load. Only a hilt was left in his hand. That's it, master. Bai Yu said helplessly. Then he scratched his head. Tsunade was screaming in her heart at this time. I didn't see it at all. Without the operation of chakra, only the force of the body was tested. But what kind of force is this? Can your inch force only be used in swordsmanship? Tsunade asked curiously. It can also be applied to fists and feet. In fact, in addition to swordsmanship, my village also has physical skills. Bai Yu said. Oh. Come on, show it. Tsunade said with interest. Okay. Bai Yu had no choice but to run to the wooden stake beside him and take a horse stance. Bai Yu raised his fist an inch away from the wooden stake. He exerted force suddenly. Bang, the wooden stake was smashed by Bai Yu's punch, and the wooden stake lay on the ground in pieces. Well, not bad. Can your ability be widely used? Tsunade said afterwards. In fact, Tsunade was thinking in her heart that Bai Yu's current physique can have such power. If a first-class ninja in physical skills uses this ability, it will definitely be a sublimation of physical skills. If Bai Yu has a stronger physique, then the power of physical skills with this ability will definitely be no less than his own strange strength. Well, I don't know about this. I was called to practice when I was 3 years old. I clearly know which muscles in my body should exert force, and then transmit through the muscles to burst out the power of the whole body in an instant. However, if this inch force is not practiced well, it is easy to strain the muscles and become muscle weakness. If the force is too strong and not well controlled, it can even cause muscle explosion. Bai Yu said. Bai Yu did not lie to Tsunade. Once, Bai Yu almost caused all the muscles on the transmission route to explode because of too much force. It seems that you need to master the human muscles to a certain level, and you also need to be able to control every bit of your strength, right? Tsunade thought for a while and said, "Yes, Master." Bai Yu admired Tsunade's ability to understand. "Master, you are a medical ninja, right?" Bai Yu asked. "Yes. What's wrong?" Tsunade asked back in surprise. "Then you must understand the structure of the human body very well. Judging from the kick you used against the bandits that day, you have a perfect grasp of strength. The formula for this inch force is that the force starts from the ground, the ki sinks into the danshin, and it guides the burst from bottom to top." Bai Yu said generously. "You just told me that?" Tsunade was a little shocked. In Tsunade's eyes, the people of those big families wanted to bury the secrets of their families in the ground, and didn't want anyone to know, and even wanted to kill those who knew the names of the secrets. Bai Yu just said it so straightforwardly. "Yeah. You are my master." Bai Yu said sincerely. "I will record this inch force secret method in the seal book." Tsunade was very moved by Bai Yu's trust. "What is the sealed book?" Bai Yu asked. Wait a minute." Tsunade was frustrated by Bai Yu's question and almost forgot that Bai Yu knew nothing. Tsunade went back to the house, took out a few scrolls, handed them to Bai Yu and said, "These scrolls are the history of ninja, basic knowledge of ninja, chakra refining techniques, basic theory of ninjutsu, herbal illustrations, basic medical ninjutsu, and basic medicine preparation. Take them and read them. If you don't understand, ask me. Make some breakfast first, and then read them." After Tsunade finished speaking, she turned around and went back to the house. She didn't go looking for happiness again. Could it be that she lost everything? Bai Yu guessed secretly, but he didn't know that he guessed right. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8. Bai's Dafra is freshly released. Bai Yu looked at the scroll in his hand, suppressed his excitement, made a breakfast, sent it to Tsunade's room, and then he quickly finished his breakfast, locked himself in the room, and began to read the scroll. What should I read first? Shinobi history. After all, this world still needs to be understood. Bai Yu made up his mind and began to flip through it. However, Bai Yu was surprised to find that he could remember everything he saw. But soon, Bai Yu saw his own Teikai pattern Dharma Eyes in the mirror, slowly rotating. Is this the blood limit? Dharma Eyes, ha, so interesting! Exclamation mark. Bai Yu stopped being stunned and began to browse quickly. Time passed little by little until noon, when he was violently thrown into the kitchen by Tsunade and made lunch. He still quickly finished his work and continued to immerse himself in the ocean of books. In the afternoon, the sun was about to set, and Bai Yu put away the last scroll. With the mental power of two lives and the extraordinary knowledge and understanding ability, Bai Yu read all the scrolls thoroughly. Bai Yu held the scroll and walked to Tsunade's room, knocked on the door. "Master." Bai Yu called out. "Come in, you." Tsunade's voice came out. Bai Yu walked in. "Master, I finished reading it all." Bai Yu put the scroll in front of Tsunade and said, "Well, you finished reading it all. Is there anything you don't understand?" "Ah, what? You finished reading it all?" Tsunade asked in surprise. "Yes, I finished reading it all. There's nothing I don't understand." Bai Yu said sincerely. "I don't like disciples who exaggerate." Tsunade thought Bai Yu was exaggerating and just wanted to show off. Tsunade felt it necessary to correct Bai Yu's attitude. "It's true. If you don't believe me, you can test me, Master," Bai Yu said helplessly. So, in the process of question and answer, Tsunade went from shock to numbness, and then to accepting the facts. Pointed to the bookshelves next to her. "Read it yourself, and ask me if you don't understand," Tsunade said very unconfidently. Tsunade was very surprised to have a genius disciple, but it seemed that there were few things she could teach Bai Yu, which made Tsunade a little speechless. Yes, master. Bai Yu once again happily flew into the ocean of books. In a week, Bai Yu also asked Tsunade many questions, and Tsunade also patiently answered Bai Yu. In this week, Bai Yu finally figured out all the things about ninja training. It's just that he didn't refine chakra. What if the theory is not up to standard and the practice goes astray? What if I lose the awesome road because of my haste to practice chakra? The levels of ninjas are special genin, elite genin, special chunin, elite chunin, special jonin, elite jonin, quasi cage level, super cage level, and 6 paths level. The first generation of Hokage was super cage level, Sarutobi Hiruzen was cage level, Hatesakumo was quasi cage level, and Tsunade was elite jonin level. And Bai Yu can barely be considered a special genin now. Chakra is the power extracted from cells, combined with mental strength and physical strength, and is the mainstream power of this world. According to Tsunade's notes, this world also has natural energy, which is the aura absorbed by Xiaobei. This natural energy needs to be harmonized with chakra, and a strong physique is required to merge into fairy chakra, which is powerful and explosive, but it consumes too much energy, and it takes a long time to condense fairy chakra. As a well-informed Taoist priest, Bai Yu found that the extraction of chakra is simply a slow suicide. No wonder people in this world die so early and mature so quickly. They have been overdrawing and never stopped. The attributes of this world are wind, thunder, water, fire, earth, yin and yang. 7 attributes. The combination of 2 attributes is the blood limit. The combination of 3 attributes is the blood elimination. And 4 attributes? Well, no one has been able to condense it yet. It took 3 days for Bai Yu to combine the internal strength of his previous life, the Taoist practice method, and the practice system of this world, to summarize a unique practice system. Use the method of breathing, to gradually absorb the natural energy between heaven and earth, starting from the major acupuncture points, gradually penetrate the 8 meridians, and even cells. Wash your body, and you can directly absorb natural energy in the later stage. Using weak natural energy, squeeze out the power in the body, wander through the 8 extraordinary meridians, strengthen the body again, stimulate and strengthen the blood, and communicate with the spirit. Although the consumption of spirit is a bit large, the recovery of spirit only needs a sleep. The condensed chakra has its own natural energy shadow, which lays the foundation for the future, while condensing the power in the danshin. Continuous condensation, and finally achieve the way of holding the elixir, and the road of cultivation is endless. There is only stronger, not the strongest. If you don't die, you can live forever. After Bai Yu sorted it out, he happily gave it a cool name, Baizdafa. With a root, without hesitation, Bai Yu began his first practice. Stick to yuan, i.e., calm your breath and concentrate. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Gradually, Bai Yu's breathing sound gradually became dull. Between breathing and inhaling, it was like thunder rolling, and it seemed as if someone was beating a drum in the chest. After the dragon sucked, and the tiger swallowed, there was a long exhalation. Then, Bai Yu's acupuncture points began to react, and after the soreness, numbness and swelling, there were bursts of tingling. Bai Yu knew that it was because the acupuncture points were not opened. I don't know how long it took. Pop, pop, pop. A series of sounds like bubbles being popped. Bai Yu suddenly felt refreshed, and a strange power surged in his body. Then, he felt his blood boiling, as if ignited by something. Then Bai Yu felt very tired and wanted to sleep. But Bai Yu still insisted on gathering his strength in danshin. The breathing sound gradually returned to normal, and the even breathing sound came from Bai Yu's mouth. Purple hair came from the east, and the sun was rising. Bai Yu opened his eyes, and was full of energy. Feeling his body, he didn't expect that the first practice was so successful. Bai Yu clearly felt that the recovery speed of his mental power was accelerated. His body became stronger, and Bai Yu felt the power in his danshin. Although it was still very small at this time, Bai Yu believed that he would definitely become the most awesome one. Are you up? You've been in seclusion for 5 days. If I hadn't sensed your blood and chakra, I would have bought you a grave. This is breakfast. Eat breakfast and take a shower. I don't know what you have figured out, but your training is almost catching up with that of a Chunin. I'm going to bed. Really? Tsunade's voice interrupted Bai Yu's fantasy. Looking at Tsunade's dark circles in the porridge handed over by Tsunade. For the first time, Bai Yu did not treat Tsunade as a tree and was deeply moved. Master, I'm sorry to bother you. Bai Yu said with emotion. Bullshit, I'm your master. Okay, I'm going to bed. Tsunade said the most domineering words with a smile, waved her hand, and left Bai Yu with a beautiful back view. Chapter 9 Determination of Attributes. Bai Yu had breakfast, took a shower, and washed his clothes. Then, he used the little tricks from his previous life to use chakra as internal force to quickly dry his clothes. He felt refreshed. Looking at the 1,000 taels of banknotes left by Tsunade by the bed, Bai Yu decided to break his vows. After all, he had traveled through time, and he was no longer a Taoist priest. The ancestors were useless. He left a note on the small table beside his bed saying that he was going out, and then walked out of the Senju clan. Konoha Casino. Buy it and leave it. Open. Leopard kill. Bakayero. I lost again. I got my money back. I got my money back. Ha 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 ha. That's right. To be honest, Bai Yu in his previous life was attracted by Chow Yun-Fat's God of Gambler series. In order to chase stars, he insisted on being beaten 8 times a day by his master. Finally, in the small town, he found a retired Kyan Wang. Looking at the people in the casino, Bai Yu had a bold idea in his heart, that is, stupid natives. Feel the fear of being dominated by Brother Fa. Bai Yu resolutely walked to the dice area. He took out the only 1,000 taels left on his body. Under the shocked expressions of everyone, he won 2,000 taels. When the bet was as high as 20 million taels. When Bai Yu was carrying 4 suitcases to leave, the people in the casino were in place. Hey, kid, who are you from? Do you want to leave after winning the money? The casino assassin said playfully. What if I don't leave? Do you want to stop me? Let me tell you, I'm the disciple of the 3 ninjas of Konoha, Tsunade-sama. I tell you, you better be careful. Bai Yu said arrogantly while carrying a suitcase. On that childish face, that upright 1.4 meters tall, all show the king's domineering. Baka. That big fat sheep still owes our casino 10 million. Since you are her disciple, then pay off her debt for her. When the casino assassin heard Bai Yu's words, he was immediately anxious. His eyes were red. Damn it. Bai Yu was speechless. He left with the IOU and 2 suitcases. He went to the bank and used his identity to apply for a passbook. He left 1 million in cash and put the rest in the passbook. Then Bai Yu went to the tailor shop and bought several sets of clothes in increasing sizes. There was no way. During this period of time, Bai Yu found that he had grown taller. Just when Bai Yu wanted to go back, he saw a ninja tool shop. Hearing that Kushina and Minato Namikaze had all kinds of weapons inside, Bai Yu, who was in a good mood, took a smart little step and turned in. After entering, the weapons and hidden weapons inside were really varied. Hey, what is this? It looks a bit like a talisman, with a word explosion in the middle. Bai Yu also saw some scrolls with a word seal on them. Uncle, what are these 2? Bai Yu leaned back slightly, staggered to avoid the shelf blocking him, looked at the middle-aged uncle at the front desk, and said loudly. The middle-aged uncle looked around when he heard the voice, and finally found Bai Yu, whose face was half blocked by the shelf, revealing a pair of eyes. Seeing this, the uncle couldn't help but smile. He walked over slowly. He said, this is called a detonating talisman. It is detonated with chakra, and has amazing power. This is a blank sealing scroll with an independent space inside to store some items. AHH. Bai Yu responded, and fell into thought. This should be a product made by the sealing technique, right? What is the connection between this sealing technique and the talisman? Looking at the earthworm-like stripes and distribution on it, it seems to have a certain pattern. It is similar to the talisman, but different. It seems that I need to study it. There is also ninjutsu. By the way, attributes. Bai Yu realized that he didn't know what attributes he had. Looking at Bai Yu in deep thought, the uncle in the ninja tool shop thought that Bai Yu was a very interesting child. Little friend, what do you need? You should be in a ninja school, right? Do you want Kyune and Shuriken? The uncle in the ninja tool shop said patiently. Uncle, I want a chakra paper to test the attributes. Kunai and shuriken, 20 each. By the way, uncle, can we make weapons here? Bai Yu thought for a while and said. Chakra paper, 1000 taels per sheet. Do you want good quality or ordinary kunai and shuriken? Or ones that can conduct chakra? The uncle didn't expect Bai Yu to buy so many things. He didn't care and said after thinking for a while. Good quality ones are fine. Bai Yu said. Then 2000 taels will do. I can forge it. What kind of weapon do you want to forge? What characteristics do you need? What are your requirements? The uncle said with a smile. Uncle, this is 3000 taels. Do you have a wallet here? Bai Yu took out a thick stack of banknotes from his chest. His chest suddenly deflated. The uncle in the ninja tool shop twitched his mouth. He originally thought that Bai Yu was a little fat, but he didn't expect that his arms were full of money. An ordinary wallet can't hold so much money. I have a newest seal bag here. It looks like a long wallet, which is more than enough to hold your money. There is about 1 cubic meter of space inside, but it's a little expensive. 100,000 taels. By the way, I'll give you a ninja tool bag. The space of this ninja tool bag is not very large. It can only hold 50 ninja tools and 3 scrolls. The uncle took the money, went back to the warehouse, took out a ninja tool bag, and handed a piece of chakra paper to Bai Yu. Holding different styles of seal wallets in his hand, he smiled and said, then I'll take 2. 1 black and 1 red. This is 200,000 taels. Bai Yu handed the money to the uncle, took the 2 wallets, and put the remaining money into the black one. Child, do you know how to use this chakra paper? The uncle asked kindly. Do you know, uncle? I was going to go back and ask my master. If you know, tell me. Knowing the properties, I know what the requirements are for the weapons I forge. Otherwise, I have to go through it again. Bai Yu said with a flash of surprise in his eyes. Okay, this chakra paper can measure your attributes. Lightning attribute paper will wrinkle. Fire attribute paper will burn. Water attribute paper will get wet. Wind attribute paper will crack. And earth attribute paper will break. You just need to input a trace of chakra into the paper. The uncle said patiently. Bai Yu nodded and excitedly input a trace of chakra into the paper. With the input of chakra, the chakra paper changed instantly. The paper was divided into 2 halves. One half darkened, the other half glowed, and the middle cracked. The dark part on the left wrinkled, and the bright part on the right began to burn. Yin and yang? Exclamation mark. Bai Yu was quite excited. Yin, yang, lightning, fire, and wind. 5 attributes. Bai Yu, who had read books related to ninjutsu, knew what characteristics these attributes had. Lightning represents extremely destructive and speed. Wind attribute represents extreme sharpness. Fire attribute represents scorching heat. Yin attribute represents mental power, illusion, and pupil technique. Yang attribute represents vitality and healing. After thinking for a long time, Bai Yu could be sure that the yin and yang attributes came from the Dharma Eye. Chapter 10. Tsunade begins to fulfill her duties. Uncle, I have thought about what kind of weapon to make. Bai Yu thought for a while and said, well, you tell me, I'll write it down. The uncle went back to the front desk and took a notebook. I want a double-edged sword, like this. Bai Yu drew a long sword in the style of a hand sword on the uncle's notebook. Then you slip steel and the steel with the best chakra guidance effect throughout the body. It must be sharp and tough. That's it. Bai Yu thought for a while and said, after all, it is useless to make so many fancy attributes and special features. Only when people are strong can weapons become strong. In Bai Yu's eyes, live steel is spiritual. If you use the secret method of blood sacrifice to awaken the spirit, you will definitely be able to produce a sword spirit. At that time, you don't have to worry about the sword being knocked away and can't find it. After the sword spirit is produced, the sword itself can absorb the energy between heaven and earth, communicate with the mind, and fly with the sword. Chakra conduction is very important. After all, if the power cannot perfectly cover the sword body, it is very likely that the sword will not be able to withstand the power and break. Sharpness is a basic requirement, and toughness is to increase the sword's bearing capacity. The life steal and chakra conduction, or that Bai Yu wanted, were rare items, and it would take half a year to complete. Bai Yu paid the deposit without hesitation. After all, a good weapon was worth waiting for, but Bai Yu's wallet was empty. 1 million is not very durable. Bai Yu thought that this wallet seemed to be very large. So, he went to the bank and took out all the money. He put 2 million in his wallet and the passbook in it. He put 7 million taels in another red wallet. This was prepared by Bai Yu for Tsunade. When passing by the vegetable market, Bai Yu thought that there were not many ingredients left in the refrigerator, and there was not much wine that Tsunade loved to drink. Humming a little tune, Bai Yu changed his pace and plunged into the vegetable market. After a long time, Bai Yu hummed a little tune again and set off on the road home, but his hands were full of bags. I don't know how many days Tsunade hasn't slept. The sun is about to set, and she hasn't gotten up yet. Bai Yu shook his head and put the ingredients and wine in the refrigerator. Speaking of which, when buying wine, Bai Yu encountered unprecedented resistance to purchase. The old lady who sold wine refused to sell to Bai Yu. As the saying goes, money makes the world go round. Bai Yu hired someone to buy wine. Bai Yu shook his head and did not disturb Tsunade's rest. Instead, he left a note on the table in the living room. Master, this is a gift for you. The money is earned from gambling. By the way, I will help you pay off the money owed to Konoha Casino. I have destroyed the IOU. Master, you also like to gamble, so you won't scold me, right? I broke the precepts. My previous village has always banned gambling. I have already replenished the ingredients and drinks. If the master is hungry, call me and I will cook. Bai Yu put the gift box wrapped in a red wallet on the note and closed the door quietly. Return to your room to study ninjutsu. After all, it is a shame for a ninja not to know ninjutsu, and Bai Yu is not going to be a physical ninja only. Little did he know that the moment Bai Yu closed the door, the sleeping Tsunade slowly opened her eyes and raised the corners of her mouth. Obviously, she had woken up a long time ago. She just wanted to see what Bai Yu was going to do. Tsunade fixed her macup, came to the place where Bai Yu left the note, and read it carefully. I have to say that Bai Yu's handwriting is very beautiful. After reading, Tsunade opened the gift box and saw the red wallet, and her smile became even stronger. She put the note into her wallet. Such a thoughtful disciple, such a warm note. Tsunade decided to keep the note. When Tsunade saw the money in the wallet, her face changed, and she took out the note and read it again, and then put the note back into the wallet. Bang! Tsunade broke the door directly. You go and have fun with master. Tsunade rushed directly into Bai Yu's room, grabbed Bai Yu's collar, jumped up in one step, and rushed to the Konoha Casino. At this moment, Bai Yu looked at the backward scene and the body floating in the air. What a sin. Bai Yu regretted everything in her heart. Why did she mention gambling? The next morning, Tsunade walked in front with a red face, constantly playing with the red wallet that Bai Yu gave her. And Bai Yu, sweat stuck to her hair and face, and she followed behind weakly. Bai Yu had seen Tsunade's gambling skills. At the gambling table, Tsunade lost all her money in a few rounds. When she had no money, she took Bai Yu's money directly. Bai Yu's speed of winning money could not keep up with Tsunade's speed of losing money. In the end, Bai Yu was exhausted and sat on the banker for several rounds before he won back his principal and interest and won a lot more. Back in the room, Bai Yu didn't say anything and fell asleep directly on the bed. Tsunade happily took out the wine from the refrigerator and enjoyed it. After 3 glasses of wine, Tsunade began to recall. At this time, her brother died tragically on the battlefield. And now she has accepted a genius disciple. Tsunade likes Bai Yu very much, whether in character, style, or talent. It seems that it is time to hand over her medical ninjutsu to him. I don't know what his chakra attribute is. What Tsunade can be sure of now is that Bai Yu will never be content to be just a medical ninja. As a teacher, you have to take some responsibilities. Tsunade drank the remaining wine and then threw the bottle into the trash can, slowly stood up, and walked out of the Senju ancestral home. When Tsunade came back, the afterglow of the sunset slowly sprinkled in the yard. There were many more scrolls in her hands. Drinking the wine quietly, waiting for Bai Yu to wake up. So comfortable. Is it already night? Bai Yu opened his eyes, stretched his waist, and saw the bright night sky through the window. Came to the yard, intending to practice boxing. After all, Swordsmanship requires a sturdy one. Thinking of this, Bai Yu slapped his head, careless. It would be great if he bought it. When he went to the ninja tool store, Bai Yu found that the light in Tsunade's room was still on. So he walked over. If Tsunade fell asleep, he would help turn off the light. Who knew that when Bai Yu just walked to the door, Tsunade's voice rang out, "Come in." Bai Yu was slightly stunned, then pushed the door open. "Master," Bai Yu said respectfully. "Well, sit down." Tsunade changed her usual madness. Very serious. "From now on, I will teach you all the medical ninjutsu. You have read the scrolls I gave you, and you have understood and absorbed them well. Now let's start the practical part. Your chakra attribute has not been determined yet, right?" Tsunade said. "It has been determined. Just yesterday." Bai Yu said. "What attribute is it?" Tsunade asked. In fact, Tsunade still wanted Bai Yu to have Yang attribute chakra directly. If there is no Yang attribute, then you have to practice chakra attribute change and then transform it into Yang attribute. I have 5 attributes: thunder, fire, wind, yin and yang. Bai Yu said respectfully. Tsunade's mouth did not twitch, and there was no expression on her face. In her heart, she was shocked by Bai Yu's talent, especially the yin and yang attributes. "No. Do you have any bloodline limit?" Tsunade realized that people with yin and yang attributes generally have bloodline limits, such as the Uchiha family with yin attributes and the Hyuga family with yang attributes, or the Nera family with yin attributes and the Akimichi family with yang attributes. Well, as for this, I don't know if it counts. I saw the Uchiha clan and the Hyuga clan in your notebook. The bloodline limits are all in the eyes. Actually, my eyes are not ordinary either. I don't know if it counts." Bai Yu said, touching his nose. Chapter 11 Tsunade goes to the battlefield. "Really? Tell me what your eyes can do. Show me." Tsunade supported one hand on the table, holding her chin, and said helplessly. Tsunade was numb to her disciple's monstrous talent. "I haven't used it yet. Then I'll show it with all my strength. Can we go to the martial arts arena?" Bai Yu said with a smile. "Let's go." Tsunade has never been in the habit of dragging her feet. In the courtyard of the Senju ancestral house, Tsunade stood aside. Bai Yu was a little distance away from Tsunade, facing Tsunade. Dharma Eye. Open. This time when using the Dharma Eye, Bai Yu obviously felt that the input of mental power was reduced a lot, and the chakra in the danshin was also slowly consumed. This time Bai Yu also seriously felt the power of the Dharma Eye again. Solar rest. Collect the soul into the Dharma Eye space and refine it. In the past, it could only arrest dead souls, but now as long as the strength is strong enough, you can extract your soul while you are alive, unless you have the skills to defend the soul. This is an ability. See yin and yang. As long as the ability is enough to see the Pure Land soul, you can see any place in this world. This is the second ability. Ignoring mental attacks, that is, being immune to soul damage. This is the third ability. You can sense the yang energy of the living around you, and the death energy of the dying, as well as the yin energy of the soul and the breath of chakra. This is the fourth ability. Plundering the vitality between heaven and earth, and infusing it into yourself or others, of course. This ability belongs to the ability of the heaven-defying level, and it consumes a lot of energy. This is the fifth ability. As long as the coffin of the Six Paths Sage is hard enough, in a sense, as long as Bai Yu is capable enough, it is completely possible to make people immortal. And Bai Yu's ability to capture souls is completely equivalent to snatching people from the Six Paths Sage. Because people must enter the Pure Land after death. Bai Yu told Tsunade about the ability of his eyes. After listening, Tsunade was stunned. Dharma Eye? So powerful? Tsunade slowly sat on the ground, silently absorbing this powerful impact information. "Master, is my ability very weak? In fact, I have another ability. It's just that this place is too small. I can't show it." Bai Yu touched his head and said embarrassedly, thinking that Tsunade felt that his ability was very weak, but in fact, Bai Yu felt that his ability was quite awesome. Little did she know that Tsunade was so shocked that she didn't know what to say. Tsunade's mouth twitched when she heard this, and she said faintly, if the power of your eyes is weak, then the Six Paths Sage is just a genin. Let's go. Go to the back mountain. After Tsunade finished speaking, she looked carefully at the Teikai pattern in Bai Yu's pupils, carried Bai Yu, and ran to the back mountain. Bai Yu had already gotten used to this. He could still smell a little fragrance, which was not bad. An open space in the back mountain. Is this place enough? I chose several places, but you said they were too small. Tsunade put Bai Yu down and said impatiently, enough, enough. Xiao Bei. A white dragon several dozen feet long appeared in front of Tsunade, and Bai Yu stood on the dragon head. Tsunade looked at everything in front of her, and felt so unreal, like a dream. Master, it's called Xiao Bei, my best friend, who grew up with me since childhood. There is a contract between us. Bai Yu jumped down from the dragon head and said, human, hello. The voice was like thunder rolling. Look, master. Xiao Bei is greeting you again. Bai Yu said to Tsunade with a smile. Looking at the majestic white dragon, Bai Yu felt very proud. After a series of words, Tsunade finally accepted the fact that was like a dream. Hello. By the way, Bai Yu quickly put away your summoning beast. Hurry up. Tsunade realized something and said anxiously. Ah. Okay. Xiao Bei. Bai Yu was puzzled, but still put away the white dragon. Bai Yu knew that Tsunade would definitely give him an answer. Then, Tsunade carried Bai Yu again, walked a long way, and returned to the Senju clan. At the same time, Kushina, who was dating Minato Namikaze, had red chakra on his body. This was the tail beast coat of the Nine Tails. Minato Namikaze on the side was scared. Exclamation mark. What's going on? But in just a moment, the tail beast coat disappeared instantly. Kushina also returned to normal. Kushina, what's wrong with you? Minato Namikaze asked with concern on the street. I'm fine. The Nine Tails said it just felt threatened and was just protecting itself, but the power that threatened disappeared. Kushina felt warm in her heart when she saw Minato Namikaze with concern in his eyes and answered with surprising patience. It's here. The energy suddenly disappeared. Several masked ninjas appeared at the place where Bai Yu had just released the white dragon. The Enbu are here. Let's go and report to Lord Danzo. It's here. Why is it gone? Are we late? I feel the breath of the root. Let's report to Lord Hokage. They were both wearing masks, but it seemed like they were in two different camps. I know about your ability. However, your ability is too amazing. I want to tell the old man Hokage. If you don't want to say it, I will keep it a secret. Tsunade looked at the young face in front of her and said after a long period of contemplation. In fact, the reason why Tsunade told Sarutobi Hiruzen was to tell the old man to be more careful and protect Bai Yu. Bai Yu heard what Tsunade said and knew that his ability was a bit against the sky. He would definitely report it, but he felt warm in his heart that Tsunade could keep it a secret for him. It's okay. Master, the elders in my village always told me to be honest and upright. My ability will be exposed sooner or later. Thank you for keeping it a secret for me. But master, you must have considered it when you decided to tell the Hokage. I believe in you. Bai Yu said sincerely and gave Tsunade a sunny smile. Brother, Tsunade said silently in her heart. Under this smile, Tsunade thought of her brother. But looking at Bai Yu's sunny smile, she surprisingly reached out and touched Bai Yu's head. So for the next 2 months, Tsunade gave all her medical skills to Bai Yu. Healing technique, the upgraded version of the palm fairy technique, chakra line, chakra knife, various medical knowledge and theories, as well as the 3-body technique and throwing technique of the basic ninja, including her own strange strength, and a sealing technique that Tsunade is considering, called Yin Seal, and the 100 healing technique. The technique that Tsunade envisioned can seal up excess chakra, and when fighting, it can be released through the 100 healings technique to instantly recover from injuries. It sounds nice, but in Bai Yu's opinion, Tsunade is just worried that she will get old, so she researched a technique that can preserve her appearance in advance. Tsunade originally planned to learn as much as Bai Yu could in 3 months. Unexpectedly, in about a month, Bai Yu learned all of Tsunade's skills, except that Bai Yu still had very little chakra, and in the last half a month or so, he has been working part-time at Konoha Hospital. After all, medical ninjas are not only good at theory and ninjutsu, but also have to keep up with practical operations. Tsunade originally secretly thought in her heart that Bai Yu would definitely have many loopholes in practical operations. When Bai Yu had problems, she would come like an angel and show her invincible master's presence. But Tsunade made a mistake. Whether it was the application of theory, the operation of ninjutsu, as well as the on-the-spot performance and adaptability, and the stability of mentality, Bai Yu did everything impeccable. Tsunade's stay time is up. 3 months. Tsunade went to the battlefield. Before leaving, Bai Yu and Tsunade had a skewers meal. He also bought a lot of sealing scrolls and sealed the skewers inside. He gave them to Tsunade to take with him. Before leaving, he secretly stuffed 500,000 taels of banknotes into Tsunade's wallet. This was all Bai Yu's belongings, because he spent a lot of money in the middle. Most importantly, Tsunade always asked Bai Yu for money to find happiness. Tsunade saw everything Bai Yu did and kept it in mind. In this life, Bai Yu, the disciple, will always exist in Tsunade's heart. Because Bai Yu did a very good job, he is definitely a role model for disciples. Chapter 12 Sealing Technique. When Tsunade left, she did not alarm Bai Yu. After all, Tsunade's current strength was much higher than Bai Yu's. When Bai Yu woke up, he knew that he didn't need to go to Konoha Hospital anymore. This was what Tsunade said. He came to the yard and danced with a sword silently, practicing boxing. In the huge Senju clan land, only he was left. For a while, Bai Yu was really a little uncomfortable. When Bai Yu was eating breakfast in the yard, sure, a masked ninja came to Bai Yu's side. Bai Yu raised his hand and threw the bowl in his hand. The masked ninja dodged quickly. Instant body technique. Bai Yu's basic operation. The seal was so fast, but it was completed in the blink of an eye. He took a long sword. This was bought by Bai Yu in his spare time. The exquisite long sword can finally bring out Bai Yu's strength. Once again, a flash body technique came in front of the masked ninja. Sharp swordsmanship. It was performed like flowing water. The surrounding space seemed to be a world of swords. One move faster than another. One move more fierce than another. The masked ninja felt so aggrieved. He was a chunin after all, but he was beaten by a guy who had never been to a ninja school, and he didn't even have the chance to form a seal. And he was just a messenger. And he was wearing an Anbu mask. Okay, Anbu. But Tsunade, who was careless, didn't tell Bai Yu about the Anbu, and Bai Yu didn't know the existence of the Anbu. The chunin resisted the attack and used the force to perform a substitution technique to escape from Bai Yu's attack range. Don't you know where this is? Who gave you the courage to come to the Senju clan to cause trouble? You just left the master and you come to cause trouble? Believe it or not, I will make sure you can't leave here today, Bai Yu said coldly. The masked ninja saw Bai Yu rushing up again and hurriedly said, Stop, stop, stop. I'm here to deliver a message. A messenger. My code name is Eagle. The Hokage wants to see you. I'm a member of the Anbu. Anbu. Bai Yu was stunned when he heard this, thinking, is he really a member of the Hokage? This guy must be scared. Forget it. No matter whether it is true or not, just stop here. If it is not, kill next time. If it is, it won't cause any trouble. As for the Anbu, what the hell is this? No matter whether what you said is true or false. Can the Anbu break into other people's homes at will? And what the hell is the Anbu? I don't know. For the sake of the Hokage, I will let you go today. I will go back to the Hokage to verify it later. If you dare to lie to me, I will kill you, even if I search the entire ninja world. Get out of here now. You. Humph. His face turned green under the mask. Thinking that this kid is the apprentice of Tsunade, the instant body technique disappeared. Bai Yu thought for a while and met the Hokage. He had to be decent. After tidying up the yard, washing up, changing into a decent and formal robe, he went to the Hokage building. In the Hokage's office. Is this kid really like you said? Sarutobi Hirozen looked at the masked ninja in front of him with a dark face and said in disbelief. Yes, Lord Hokage. The Anbu ninja with a green face under the mask said respectfully. This Tsunade. You have worked hard. You go down first. Don't worry, it's just a child. Sarutobi Hirozen said helplessly. Yes. The masked ninja said yes, but he was cursing in his heart. This is a child. He almost took my life with a sword. It's like a dream. The Anbu ninja disappeared in the office. Sarutobi Hiruzen sat on the chair, took out his pipe, lit it, took a puff, and exhaled. Instantly, the office was filled with a faint smell of tobacco. Tsunade, you can't just teach the ability without instilling the will of fire. Fortunately, it's only 3 months. I must save this talented boy, let him inherit the will of fire, and become an outstanding talent of Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen roared in his heart. Exclamation mark. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. Sarutobi Hiruzen regained his calm. Come in. Hokage-sama. You're looking for me? Bai Yu bowed respectfully as he entered the room. Yu, you're here. Yes, I'm looking for you. How have you been these 3 months? Sarutobi Hiruzen, looking at Bai Yu, who was well dressed, gentle, and polite, showed a kind smile on his face. Master treats me very well, and taught me a lot. I'm very grateful to Master. Of course, I also want to thank you, Hokage-sama. My identity and monthly allowance were handled for me by Hokage-sama. Bai Yu said respectfully. Good. Tsunade, that girl has gone to the front line. What are your plans next? Sarutobi Hiruzen was very satisfied with Bai Yu's answer, and asked with a smile. Before Master went to the front line, he told me that Hokage-sama would tell me. Bai Yu said. Well, Tsunade told me everything about you. Don't worry, only I know the secret of your eyes. I haven't told anyone. Yu, my arrangement for you is to go to the ninja school, to study for a period of time. To become a strong ninja, the first step is to go to the ninja school to study systematically. Although Tsunade has taught you a lot of things, there is still a lot of knowledge you need to know in the ninja school. The knowledge that Sarutobi Hiruzen pointed out was the will of fire. It's all up to the Hokage. Bai Yu said respectfully. Well, very good. Tomorrow morning I will ask someone to take you to the ninja school. You can tell me if you need anything, such as ninjutsu and the like. Sarutobi Hiruzen had a kind face, but in fact he was thinking that he would take advantage of others. I want to give you a great favor as a genius like you. In the future, will you be embarrassed not to work for me? Really? I want to study the sealing technique. Master left me a concept of the technique, and I want to perfect this technique by myself. Bai Yu said. In fact, Bai Yu wanted to know the similarities between sealing techniques and talismans, to see if he could perfect a powerful sealing technique that belongs to this world. Is that so? Well, okay. I can show you all the sealing techniques of the Uzumaki clan, but only in this office. You can't tell anyone else. I'm going to set a seal for you to prevent you from leaking it. But don't worry, I don't mean to distrust you, but there are many ninjutsu that can extract your memory without you saying anything. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, after thinking for a moment. Okay. Bai Yu said without hesitation. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded and carved a seal on Bai Yu's body. Then he opened the study in the office, untied the restrictions on the sealing scroll, and took out a thick book from it. This book records all the sealing techniques of the Uzumaki clan. Of course, no one in the entire ninja world knows more about sealing techniques than the Uzumaki clan. It's a pity that there is only one person left in the Uzumaki clan now. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with some regret. Uzumaki Kushina? Bai Yu asked. Sarutobi Hiruzen was stunned for a moment, then he thought of Tsunade and felt relieved. He also knew about Bai Yu's barbecue stall, but he just forgot about it for a while. Yes, it's her. Look for yourself, and you can ask me if you don't understand. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, showing a kind smile, closing the door of the study, and continued to work. Chapter 13 School. Bai Yu saw Sarutobi Hiruzen continuing to be busy, but he didn't say anything. Instead, he flipped through the sealing techniques. The more he read, the more Bai Yu felt that it was very similar to talismans. The talismans in the previous life needed to communicate with the heaven and earth, while the runes in this world need to share the spiritual world. There are many ways to communicate with the spiritual world. Blood, runes, souls, etc. The medium for communicating between heaven and earth in the previous life was talismans and chanting, which is also spells. Bai Yu, who has a photographic memory, reads books very quickly, but it is important to understand thoroughly. Bai Yu is still deducing and understanding step by step through the knowledge in the book. After an unknown amount of time, Bai Yu closed the book. He began to fall into deep thought. until Sarutobi Hiruzen pushed the door of the study again. It's embarrassing to say. Sarutobi Hiruzen finished his work and walked out of the office building, always feeling that he had overlooked something, until he walked out of the door and saw that the light in the study was still on. Then he slapped his thigh and forgot about Bai Yu. He hurried back to the study. The door of the study opened, but he saw Bai Yu with a thoughtful look on his face. "Yu, how is it? Is it difficult?" Sarutobi Hiruzen said kindly. "Ah, Hokage-sama." Bai Yu suddenly woke up, seeing the dark sky outside. He said apologetically, "Sorry, Hokage-sama. I forgot the time for a moment. I have memorized the book. The key is to understand. There is still a part of knowledge that I have not fully understood. Yes, the key is to understand." What? You have finished reading it? Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a shocked face. Yes, I remember it all." Bai Yu said sincerely. "Then let me test you. Tsunade said something about your memory before. I have never believed it." Sarutobi Hiruzen said half doubtfully. "Okay, please consider it, Hokage-sama." Bai Yu said. 10 minutes later. "Someone will pick you up to report to the ninja school tomorrow. Hurry home and have a good rest." Sarutobi Hiruzen said, as if he was dreaming. At this moment, he somewhat understood why Tsunade attached great importance to Bai Yu, but he was also a little helpless. "I want to teach you. Tell me you can do it. I want to give you a difficult question, and you tell me you have solved it?" "Hokage, please send some polite people. Breaking into private houses is very annoying." Bai Yu said. He didn't know much about the Anbu, and he was very disgusted with the act of breaking into private houses. Okay," Sarutobi Hiruzen said helplessly. Bai Yu, who separated from Sarutobi Hiruzen, returned to his small house. He made a plan for himself. First of all, the practice of chakra, swordsmanship and physical skills cannot be stopped. Practicing martial arts is like rowing against the current. If you don't advance, you will retreat. Then, the research on ninjutsu cannot be stopped. After all, Bai Yu is a man who wants to be awesome. The understanding of blood limit must also be accelerated. How can a single attribute be powerful when multiple attributes are combined together? This involves the comprehension of attribute changes. Now the research on sealing techniques must also keep up, and there is no need to worry about yin and yang attributes. Who said that yin attributes can only perform illusions? Isn't it unpleasant to take away your soul directly? But it is still too difficult to take away the soul alive. There are still many variables in the various obsessions generated by people's 7 emotions and 6 desires. Yang attribute, with Bai Yu by your side, you can't die at all. In the end, Bai Yu decided that everything should be done slowly and silently, and only the fusion of blood limit needs to be accelerated. It seems necessary to find Namikaze Minato to learn the shadow clone technique. I heard that there is an essential difference between the shadow clone technique and the clone technique. The clone technique is just a clone, but the clone of the shadow clone can be comparable to the original body, and after the clone is released, all the memories and feelings of the clone will be absorbed by the original body. Bai Yu made up his mind and did not hesitate, but concentrated on comprehending the changes in the nature of the 5 attributes of himself. Thunder represents speed and destructive power, wind represents compression and sharpness, and fire represents heat and majesty. As for the understanding of yin and yang, Bai Yu can be said to have mastered it thoroughly. Don't forget that Bai Yu was a Taoist priest in his previous life. Although there was not much progress in the overpast comprehension, the understanding of the attributes has deepened a bit. As usual, practice swordsmanship and taijutsu, and eat breakfast. After breakfast, Bai Yu got dressed and waited quietly. This time, there was no Anbu ninja that dropped from the sky, but only knocks on the door, and Kushina's super impatient shout, "I'm coming." Bai Yu hurriedly opened the door. He saw Namikaze Minato and Kushina. "Hurry up, brother. You're going to be late. The Hokage asked us to take you to the ninja school. It's all because of this sissy." There was no need to rush, but he insisted on buying me breakfast, Kushina said irritably. Namikaze Minato smiled awkwardly, touched his nose, and thought to himself that he also enjoyed it when you were eating. Bai Yu looked at Namikaze Minato sympathetically when he heard it. Namikaze Minato responded with a look he was used to. Are you two communicating with your eyes? Kushina said with a smile, but the air around her seemed to start to heat up, and the airwaves even made Kushina's long red hair start to float. Let's go quickly. It's too late. Namikaze Minato knew Kushina very well, and hurriedly pulled the bewildered Bai Yu away. After Namikaze Minato and Kushina handed Bai Yu over to Bai Yu's teacher, they said they would pick him up after school and ran away. Looking at the shyness in the eyes of Namikaze Minato and Kushina, Bai Yu cursed the scumbag men and women in his heart. Your name is Bai Yu, right? My name is Sarutobi Shihiro. Sarutobi Shihiro is a member of Sarutobi Hiruzen's clan, and he said to Bai Yu kindly, yes, teacher. Bai Yu said quietly, the class you were assigned to is the class that is about to graduate. I heard that you are Tsunade's disciple. I hope you will work hard and don't repeat the grade. If you don't understand anything, you can ask me at any time. Sarutobi Shihiro said with a smile. I know, thank you teacher. Bai Yu said respectfully. Well, then let's go back to the class. Sarutobi Shihiro said with a smile. Bai Yu nodded. On the playground, Sarutobi Shihiro led Bai Yu to the classroom. Yoshi, there are still 7 months. We will finally graduate. I don't know why the application for early graduation was rejected. Please. Shikaku, do you want to eat? These potato chips are delicious. No. Please. Ding Zeduo, can I eat them? You are still knowledgeable. Hey but you can only eat 1 bite. Okay. Yoo-hoo. The teacher is not here. It's so nice. Sarutobi Shihiro, who originally had a smile on his face, now had a black line on his face. Bang. Sarutobi Shihiro opened the door with great force. The classroom was instantly quiet. Everyone pretended to be very good. Bai Yu not only had a smile on his face. Chapter 14 Making Friends. You bunch of brats. Humph. Today we have a new student entering our class. Please introduce yourself. Sarutobi Zigwang said seriously. Bai Yu nodded and walked up to the podium calmly. He said, my name is Bai Yu. Thank you. The scene suddenly became quiet. Bai Yu classmate, can you introduce your hobbies? Sarutobi Zigwang said helplessly. I like to practice and eat skewers. Bai Yu spoke again. Okay. Welcome our new classmate. Bai Yu classmate, just find an empty seat and do it. Sarutobi Zigwang said awkwardly. Okay. Bai Yu said respectfully. He picked a corner. Okay, let's do actual combat training later. Give everyone 10 minutes to adjust. Sarutobi Zigwang said. Then he walked out of the classroom. As Sarutobi Zigwang walked out of the classroom, the classmates began to boil again. Shikaku, what do you think? Ding Zeduo looked at Bai Yu, then looked at Shikaku with a pineapple head, and said after eating a piece of potato chips. Another troublesome guy. This guy's not simple. Shikaku glanced at Bai Yu and said. Isn't it easy? Yamanaka Inoichi had long yellow hair. Hearing what Shikaku said, he couldn't help but look at Bai Yu a few more times. Potato chips are still delicious. Ding Zeduo continued to compete with the potato chips. These 3 people are the Inoshika-Chao combination of the Nara clan, the Yamanaka clan, and the Akimichi clan. There is no doubt that Shikaku has a super high IQ. Bai Yu has read the information and has some understanding of this. However, although Bai Yu has a good temper, he doesn't know how to take the initiative to talk to others, whether in the previous life or now. Even Kushina and Namikaze Minato, they still took the initiative to talk to Bai Yu. But Bai Yu is also happy to be idle. Every desk in the classroom is equipped with textbooks. There are books from the beginning to graduation, but few people read them. Because even if you read these books, you can't take them away. The teacher will check them every day. After all, some information in the books cannot be known to outsiders. Bai Yu began to look through the textbooks. 10 minutes is a short time. Sarutobi Shihiro returned to the classroom. Okay. Now everyone follow me to the training ground. Practice actual combat. Along with Sarutobi Shihiro's words, everyone gathered at the training ground. You can choose your opponents, or you can let me assign them. Starting now, in 5 minutes, I will assign the people who haven't chosen one. Sarutobi Shihiro said. Those who were on good terms with each other had already chosen their positions and started training. At this time, a young man in a dark blue turtleneck and half sleeves walked towards Bai Yu. There was a fan-like logo on his back. Bai Yu took a look and knew that this logo was the logo of the Uchiha family. New here. My name is Uchiha Inahori. Do you dare to compete with me? Arrogant and arrogant. Bai Yu felt very uncomfortable listening to it. Come on. Bai Yu said lightly. Humph, you will lose very badly. Seeing Bai Yu's lukewarm response, Uchiha Inahori was very unhappy. Came to the battle position. Swoosh, swoosh. Uchiha Inahori directly threw out several shurikens and kunai. Seeing this, Bai Yu tilted his head and then did a backflip. Perfectly avoided all hidden weapons. Fire style. Great fireball technique. Uchiha Inahiro seized the opportunity when Bai Yu landed and used a fire style ninjutsu to spray at Bai Yu. Bang. Bai Yu's figure turned into a piece of wood. Substitution technique. When Uchiha Inahiro's heart sank when he saw this. Bai Yu's seal was not noticed at all. HMPH. Then Uchiha Inahiro's eyes began to change. Scarlet eyeballs and a Magatama slowly flowed in the eyes. Sharingan. Bai Yu stood outside the attack range of the ninjutsu with a relaxed look on his face. Looking at Uchiha Inahiro's eyes, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but smile. Although I haven't practiced other attributes of ninjutsu, except the 3-body technique, but I can handle chakra swords and chakra attributes with ease. Bai Yu thought to himself. Stimulating the single attribute lightning chakra, holding the sword finger in his right hand, and condensing the lightning chakra on the sword finger according to the condensation method of the chakra sword. Zzzzzz. A sound that made people's ears sore suddenly sounded. Instant body technique. Bai Yu's hand seals were so fast that Uchiha Inahiro, who had opened his Sharingan, could barely see it clearly. Then Bai Yu used his finger as a sword, forcing Uchiha Inahiro to have no time to seal. Finally, Bai Yu dispersed the lightning attribute chakra. He placed his finger on Uchiha Inahiro's neck. He said lightly, "You lost." Then he gave Uchiha Inahiro a charming back view. Shikaku, he is so powerful. Akimichi Choza said. Many people were watching Bai Yu's battle silently. Yeah, this guy. Don't think about it, it's too troublesome. Narashikaku thought for a while and said. Then he sat lazily on the ground. Although Narashikaku, who was sitting on the ground, said trouble, his eyes were full of contemplation. This guy is worth making friends with. He is strong and has good character. Narashikaku, who was thinking for a long time, said lightly. If Bai Yu heard what Narashikaku said, he would definitely give him 100 likes. Akimichi Choza and Yamanaka Rinaichi narrowed their eyes when they heard what Narashikaku said. They believed in the brains of the Nera family. But at this time, Bai Yu had lost interest. He sat aside silently, feeling the changes in the attributes of chakra. As he felt it, Bai Yu could feel that his understanding of the attributes gradually deepened. At this time, the originally lazy Narashikaku brought Akimichi Choza and Yamanaka Inoichi to Bai Yu's side. It was Narashikaku who was speaking. But looking at Narashikaku's flushed face, it can be seen that this kind of chat is too difficult for him. Bai Yu looked at Narashikaku with a flushed face and couldn't help but feel funny. But he didn't know why Narashikaku came. Do you want to fight? Bai Yu asked with a smile. Yes no, it's so troublesome. Narashikaku felt so troublesome when he heard Bai Yu's words. Ahem. That Bai Yu classmate. The three of us are here to make friends with you. His name is Narashikaku, and he's not good at this kind of close communication. My name is Yamanaka Inoichi, and the guy eating potato chips is Akimichi Choza. Yamanaka Inoichi said kindly. Ah, is that so? Haha. Shikaku, just say it directly. What's there to be embarrassed about? Bai Yu said with a smile. See, I'll tell you. This guy's aloofness is a disguise. Akimichi Choza, who was eating potato chips, said with a smile. Narashikaku blushed slightly. Well, I'm an orphan. After the village was massacred, the first person I saw was my master Tsunade. When I came to this village, the first people who spoke to me were Kushina and Minato Namikaze. Then it was Uchiha Inaheim just now, and then you three. In other words, except Kushina and Minato Namikaze, my friends are only you three. What I want to say is that I'm actually not good at communicating with people. Bai Yu scratched his head and said. After hearing Bai Yu's words, Narashikaku's face calmed down. The three people looked at Bai Yu deeply. Are the preferences you said on the podium true? And are you really Tsunade-sama's disciple? Yamanaka Inoichi asked. What I said on the podium was not very comprehensive. I like a lot of things, but it's true. I'm really Tsunade-sama's disciple. Bai Yu replied with a smile. Is the skewers you mentioned delicious? Akimichi Choza asked with a light in his eyes. Hearing this, Narashikaku and Yamanaka Inoichi couldn't help but roll their eyes. I don't know what's wrong with the genes of the Akimichi family. Basically, everyone in the Akimichi family is a foodie. Haha, a rare delicacy in the world. Bai Yu said confidently. Where can I eat it? Akimichi Choza imagined the taste of the skewers, wiped his saliva silently, and asked anxiously. In my village. Bai Yu said. Akimichi Choza was a little speechless. Wasn't Bai Yu's village destroyed? Could it be a lie? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15 Kushina and Minato Namikaze go to the battlefield. Looking at the puzzled expression of Akimichi Choza. Crying Yalu. You mean she can do it? Narashikaku couldn't bear it anymore. Haha. When are you going to eat skewers? Can you call me? Akimichi Choza touched his head and said with a smile. Of course. Bai Yu said with a smile. You are such a good person. Akimichi Choza said with a smile. For the people of the Akimichi family, those who are willing to invite them to dinner are definitely good people. Is it a no-mark ninjutsu that you condensed the lightning attribute chakra on your fingers just now? Narashikaku asked. No, that's a little trick I developed. It can be regarded as a ninjutsu, a technique to guide chakra through the human body's meridians. Bai Yu said with a smile. However, the heatsink was shocked when he heard Bai Yu's words. Exclamation mark. What? You studied it yourself? Ninjutsu? The surprised Akimichi Choza shouted directly, which was really amazing. Choza. Narashikaku covered Akimichi Choza's mouth with one hand and then looked around. Do you want to harm you? Seeing that no one around cared, Narashikaku lowered his voice and said seriously. However, he didn't know that a member of the root with the strength of this elite jonin had already quietly left. Bai Yu's identity was Tsunade's apprentice, and the root would naturally pay attention to Bai Yu's information. What's wrong? Akimichi Choza trusted Narashikaku very much and asked in a low voice. What does it mean to have developed a new ninjutsu by yourself? It means that a secret technique has just been released. What does a secret technique represent? Strong combat power. You as Tsunade's disciple. Do you think there will be no one around him? Narashikaku said in a low voice. In this regard, Bai Yu once again refreshed his understanding of the Nara family. The information said that the Nara family was born with a high IQ, and this time Bai Yu really realized it. However, Bai Yu naturally knew about that root member because there was a white dragon in Bai Yu's body, and just now, an Anbu ninja has quietly left. Bai Yu said with a smile. Choza. Narashikaku said helplessly. Sorry, I didn't mean it. I was just too surprised. Akimichi Choza's face was red at this time, full of guilt. What should I do? Shikaku. Yamanaka Inoichi was also worried about Bai Yu. Maybe it's not that bad. It's just the Anbu. The Anbu is a secret special operations force directly under the Hokage, and the Hokage is Tsunade-sama's teacher. There shouldn't be any problem. At most, we just know that Bai Yu has developed a new taijutsu. Narashikaku thought for a while and said, but I'm afraid it's the root. Narashikaku fell into deep thought after speaking. Nara, Akimichi, the Yamanaka three clans. As a family of the hardcore Hokage lineage, it is normal to know many secrets. Hearing Narashikaku's words, Yamanaka Inoichi also fell into deep thought, and Akimichi Choza's face became even redder with anxiety. Hey, what are you doing? I dare say, you are not afraid of people knowing. What is there to worry about? It's okay. I'm not worried. Why are you in a hurry? Besides, I have used it in front of people. What is there to be afraid of? Bai Yu patted the shoulders of the three people and said sincerely, you. Akimichi-chose looked at Bai Yu's sincere face and was deeply moved. And Narushikaku once again confirmed that Bai Yu had good character. Yamanaka Inoichi looked at Bai Yu with a look of approval. Don't be like this. Tonight, I will set up a stall. Sell skewers. If you have nothing to do, you can also come to help, and the reward is to treat you to free skewers. Bai Yu said with a smile. The tense atmosphere was dispersed. The few young people chatted enthusiastically again. Are you researching a new ninjutsu? Can you copy this ninjutsu? In the dark office below, only a few oil lamps flickered. At the root base, Shimura Danzo listened to the report of his subordinates. It cannot be copied, because there are unreplicable techniques in it. The root ninja said respectfully. Okay, continue monitoring. People from other villages cannot be trusted. For Konoha, it is necessary to let them join the root. Shimura Danzo said with narrowed eyes. Hey. The ninja's figure gradually disappeared. Hokage's office. What? You want Bai Yu to join the root? Absolutely impossible. There is no room for negotiation. Sarutobi Hirozen heard what Shimura Danzo said and refused mercilessly. Hirozen, he is from another village. It is absolutely right for him to join the root. Shimura Danzo said loudly. I only know that he is Tsunade's disciple and is studying at the ninja school. Sarutobi Hirozen took out his pipe, took a puff and said firmly, Humph, you will regret it. Shimura Danzo said unhappily, after shaking his sleeves, and left angrily. I will regret it if I join the root. Danzo's hands are a bit long. But, at least we are in the same class, so forget it. It's good as long as it's not too much. Sarutobi Hirozen thought, rubbing his forehead. The bell for the end of get out of class rang. The energetic boys and girls rushed out of the school. Bai Yu walked slowly with Akimichi Choza, Yamanaka Inoichi, and Narushikaku. When they arrived at the school gate, all the students had left. Only Kushina and Namikaze Minato were still standing at the gate. Hi, Sister Kushina, Brother Minato. Bai Yu smiled and waved. Brother, hurry up. Aren't you going to be more active after school? Kushina shouted impatiently. Only Kushina would ask people to be more active after school. Seeing the people behind Bai Yu, Kushina smiled with relief. Minato and I were worried that you couldn't make friends, but it seems we can rest assured now. Kushina smiled with relief. Bai Yu saw this and felt something was wrong. You guys are leaving? Bai Yu frowned slightly and said. Kushina and Minato Namikaze looked at each other and smiled helplessly. I didn't expect you to be so smart. That's right. Kushina and I have to rush to the battlefield overnight. The battle situation is urgent. There is no way. Minato Namikaze had a signature smile on his face. Very kind. Okay. This is the barbecue ingredients I prepared for today's stall. You take them. You have to eat well in a war, and you can win the battle with enough energy. By the way, help me bring some to my master. Bai Yu could understand it. After all, he was a ninja. He handed 3 scrolls to Kushina and said. Seeing Bai Yu's actions and words, the two felt warm in their hearts. Seeing Bai Yu's resolute face, they held back the words they didn't want. Thank you, brother. Kushina said with a smile. It's okay, safety comes first. Bai Yu said solemnly. After all, the battlefield is not a joke. Kushina and Minato Namikaze didn't say anything, but nodded, left quickly, and rushed to the battlefield. In fact, from their clothes, it can be seen that they are going to the battlefield, and the new blades are packed full. Looking at the departing figure, Bai Yu is a little helpless. However, Bai Yu is very relieved about Kushina. As the Ninetales Jinchuriki, Kushina is only in the logistics support unit. Even if she goes to the battlefield, Bai Yu is more worried about Minato Namikaze. Chapter 16. The clone goes to school. It seems that we can't set up a stall today. Let's buy some ingredients and go home to eat. By the way, prepare the ingredients for tomorrow. Damn, I forgot. As he spoke, Bai Yu slapped his thigh and cursed helplessly. What's wrong? Narushikaku asked puzzledly. What could make Bai Yu swear like this? I was going to ask Brother Minato about the shadow clone technique. Bai Yu said helplessly. Ah, that's it? The 3 people said in surprise. Yes, isn't that enough? I only know the clone technique, not the shadow clone technique. Bai Yu scratched his head and said embarrassedly. Come on. I'll teach you. Akimichi Choza said with a smile. Do you all know it? Bai Yu asked in surprise. Yes. This is an upgraded version of the clone technique. However, it consumes a lot of chakra. The ordinary clone technique does not consume much chakra. The shadow clone technique is that you need to divide as many clones as you want. You also need to control the chakra, otherwise the chakra will be drained if you are not careful. As for the multiple shadow clone technique, it consumes more chakra. The shadow clone can also control the number of clones. The only way to control the number of clones in the multiple shadow clone technique is to control the chakra. So it is included in the ranks of forbidden techniques. Akimichi Choza said. Anyway, this is common sense in the big family, and it doesn't matter if you say it. Then Akimichi Choza taught the shadow clone technique to Bai Yu. After Bai Yu understood it a little, he quickly formed seals with both hands. The speed of forming seals was so fast that it was dazzling. It shocked the three people a little. Shadow clone technique. Dong dong dong, 3 clones appeared beside Bai Yu. Hi. Original body. The greeting from the clone. It's amazing. Hello. Bai Yu said with a flash of interest in his eyes. Release. The clone disappeared again, and then in an instant, the clone's chakra and the memory of the moment it appeared and disappeared poured into Bai Yu's body and brain. Thank you, Chozo. Bai Yu said with a smile. Nothing. Nothing. Akimichi Chozo was very happy to help Bai Yu. Come to my house for kebabs. Do you want to tell your family? Stay at my house tonight. I'm the only one anyway. There are plenty of rooms in the ancestral house of the Senju clan. Bai Yu said with a smile. Eating is fine. But if you want to stay overnight outside, you still have to tell your family. I'll go to your house in half an hour. Narashikaku said. Me too. Me too. Okay. See you in half an hour. Bai Yu said with a smile. The 4 of them separated. Bai Yu went to the vegetable market and bought a lot of ingredients. According to the information, the Akimichi clan has a large appetite, which can even be said to be amazing. Bai Yu returned home and split into 2 shadow clones. One cut meat and vegetables, and the other skewered skewers. Bai Yu prepared tabloa, chairs, beds, and most importantly, charcoal. Although I don't know whether these 3 guys will live at home, it's better to prepare in advance. When everything was ready, the 3 guys also arrived. I say, you guys really came on time. Not a minute more, not a minute less. You don't have to be so punctual. I've prepared everything. Bai Yu rolled his eyes at the 3 people and said jokingly. Haha. I have calculated it accurately. I don't want to do those troublesome things. Narashikaku also said with a smile. TSK. You are so lazy. How about, can you live in my house? Bai Yu asked. Yes. 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 3 yes appeared. Bai Yu smiled slightly. Then, the feast of skewers kicked off. There was no alcohol, only drinks. But this was enough. After all, he had to go to school the next day. Akimichi Choja's appetite once again made Bai Yu recognize the Akimichi clan. Fortunately, they were well prepared. After eating the skewers, the few people who lay in the yard, looking at the night sky, and patting their round bellies. The skewers are so delicious. Especially the mode of rubbing the skewers, and making sparks appear. I understand it now. It's the feeling of eating one skewer, and waiting for the next one anxiously. Akimichi Choza said with satisfaction. Narashikaku and Yamanaka Inoichi were too full to talk, and could only roll their eyes at Akimichi Choza. Hyuga clan. Haha. It seems that you understand it well. Haha. I have prepared a room for you. You can go and rest later. I'm going to clean up. Bai Yu said, looking at the mess on the ground. How can we go and rest while you clean up? Let's help too. Thank you for your big meal. Yamanaka Inoichi said with a smile. He turned over, but unfortunately, Yamanaka Inoichi didn't get up because of his round belly. Haha. Everyone laughed. Yamanaka Inoichi also had a smile on his face. With the help of everyone, he quickly cleaned up. Shadow clone technique. Dong dong. 2 clones were released by Bai Yu. One was arranged by Bai Yu to comprehend the changes in the nature of chakra attributes. One was arranged by Bai Yu to study the sealing technique. I want to practice swordsmanship for a while. Do you want to practice? You can practice throwing techniques over there. You can practice physical techniques over there. Bai Yu looked at the three people and pointed to two places in the martial arts field. Have you been working so hard? Yamanaka Inu asked. If you want to be a strong ninja, don't you have to work hard to improve yourself? I want to be the strongest man in the ninja world, Bai Yu said with a smile. Bai Yu's ambition deeply ignited the blood of Yamanaka Inu and Akimichi Choza, except for Narashikaku who was in the late stage of laziness. So, Bai Yu practiced swordsmanship in the yard. Yamanaka Inu, Akimichi Choza, and Narashikaku went back to the room to rest. There was no way, they ate too much. Bai Yu practiced swordsmanship once, and also returned to the room to practice Baistaffa! However, the sound of the sword ringing and breaking through the air when Bai Yu practiced the sword made the three people in the room once again shocked. Stupid natives, let Uncle Bai Yu refresh your definition of strength! The next day, Bai Yu asked one clone to set up a stall, another clone to go to school, and one clone to stay at home to study the sealing technique. Bai Yu found that the progress of using the clone to comprehend the properties of chakra was indeed a bit slow. It seems that some things must be done by oneself. And Akimichi Choza and the other two did not say anything. The three of them also understood that in the ninja school, apart from being brainwashed into the will of fire, there was nothing special about it, and it was even worse than the teachings in the family. In the evening, Bai Yu went to the Konoha casino again. After all, just like an ATM, if Bai Yu did not have the attitude that money was just enough, he would definitely be like Tsunade, wishing to stay in the casino 24 hours a day, but Tsunade enjoyed the gambling process and lost money frequently. Chapter 17 3 months. Bai Yu went to the casino because the sword he made was arranged to be made in the Iron Country due to workmanship issues, so the cost was relatively much higher. The cost of 9 million. Bai Yu had to go to the casino once. Because of the stall, Bai Yu didn't know if he could make 9 million in 3 months. At night, the stall setting clone took the ingredients for the next day and a thick stack of banknotes and handed over to Bai Yu tiredly and resentfully. Seeing this, Bai Yu said awkwardly, I will give you 2 more tomorrow. I will definitely give you 2 more. The clone was satisfied and turned into a ball of white mist. Bai Yu, who received the memory, realized how popular the skewers were. One clone had to grill skewers, collect money, make change, and remember who ordered the skewers. It was really tiring. Well, let's set up stalls with 2 clones in the future. 3 months passed quickly. During this period, the biggest breakthrough was that Bai Yu successfully combined the sealing technique with talismans. Use pen, ink, and words as the medium. Communicate with the spirit world. Bai Yu called the ink seal technique the talisman technique, and the speech seal technique was called the magic spell technique by Bai Yu. Combined together, it was called the talisman magic technique. Bai Yu was very satisfied with this name. The talisman magic techniques summarized by Bai Yu were varied, but the magic spell technique still needed the last link, that is, the spiritual language. The language of the spirit world, the language of the seal technique. In Bai Yu's opinion, the attack power of the talisman technique and the magic spell technique could only reach the level of a jonin. The most important thing is still reflected in the seal, but it is much simpler than the original seal technique. The rune is both a medium and a guide for the power of the seal. For example, what originally needed to be written in a huge space can be completely replaced by a small piece of paper, plus a few main runes in one go. Of course, Bai Yu has developed many kinds of talismans for different situations. For example, the immobilization talisman used to trap the enemy can not only seal the body, but also the power. For example, the forbidden god talisman used to seal the tailed beast can even seal the soul. According to the sealing technique recorded in the sealing technique, Bai Yu will also improve it. Isn't the tailed beast the manifestation of chakra without a physical body? No. Taste the wisdom from the great country, the 8 gates golden lock talisman array. This is a means of composite talisman technique. It doesn't need your tailed beast to willingly help the Jinkriki. With this talisman array, the owner of the talisman array can completely use the power of the tailed beast at will, and the tailed beast can't move, like being pressed under the 5-finger mountain. unless the tailed beast itself can't think it through, doesn't restore chakra, and dies of being drained, waiting to reappear in a few years. There are also talismans that gather yang attribute chakra to heal minor injuries. There are also talismans used to set up barriers. Do you need people to set up barriers? No, a few thin talismans will do it. As for the others, I won't say much. The divine spell is particularly valued by Bai Yu, because only by understanding the spiritual language can you understand the true meaning of the sealing technique. After understanding the divine spell, are you still drawing talismans? What is the meaning of saying what comes out? Say a few words of spiritual language, act as a medium, and directly use the power of the spirit world. It's awesome or not? However, to communicate with the spirit world, it seems that I need to become stronger. After all, my total chakra is only that of a genin. But Bai Yu is not worried. Bai's method is an all-round improvement. When the body adapts to natural energy, it can be like the first generation of Hokage. Directly open the sage mode when fighting. Thinking of this, Bai Yu is looking forward to his sage mode. The subject of chakra attribute change has also been conquered. The benefit is that the power of ninjutsu is huge. I remember someone mentioned it in the previous life. There is a ruthless person in Naruto who can use ordinary C level ninjutsu very well, and C level ninjutsu is comparable to A level. Now Bai Yu does not need to make hand seals to perform B level ninjutsu. First, the perception of chakra attributes has reached a certain level. Second, the purpose of making hand seals is to understand what frequency each ninjutsu should use, or what kind of change the chakra needs to achieve, and what kind of route to release it. Bai Yu took 2 months to completely comprehend B-level ninjutsu. Of course, these ninjutsu are recorded in a scroll given to him by Tsunade. But Bai Yu is not going to use these ninjutsu unless he has to. Just kidding. The 5 attributes of Yin Yang Wind Fire Thunder are still waiting for me to merge into a new bloodline limit. I heard that fusing 3 will eliminate the bloodline. What about the other 5? Bai Yu is looking forward to it. As for the development of ninjutsu, I will wait until I really combine the 5 attributes before starting. The technology is not about quantity, but about refinement. At this stage, there are various attribute chakras. It is enough to use this little trick of guiding through the meridians to perform swordsmanship. The instant body technique does not need to form a seal. It is just like flashing, but it can't go through the wall. In addition to the spell magic, of course, only the talisman technique can be used. Bai Yu with such strength can already be compared to a special jonin. Although Bai Yu is very strong, the amount of chakra is there, and a powerful technique means more consumption. Every jonin level existence will have his own unique skills. Oh my god. Bai Yu realized a problem at this time. That is the paper that carries the rune. Ordinary paper will definitely not work. Chakra paper is needed. The chakra paper here is not used to measure attributes. It is paper used to make sealing techniques. Detonating talismans are made of this kind of paper. It's another expense. Bai Yu couldn't help but hold his forehead and leaned on the table with one hand. You know, the chakra paper used to make detonating talismans is very expensive. One piece costs 5,000 taels. Detonating talismans are only 10,000 taels. Should I talk to the Hokage about this? Oh, forget it. I'll find a chance to talk about it. Maybe I can even give myself a little reward. Thinking about it, Bai Yu went out. He suddenly remembered that today is the day to pick up the sword. But when he went out, he saw that his pants were too short and his ankles were exposed. It seemed that he had grown taller. The clothes he wore were already the largest size, so it seemed necessary to buy a few more sets of clothes. Even the name of the sword has been thought of, Bai Yu sword. Yes, simple and clear. It is my sword. Haha. Bai Yu walked happily on the street. Soon he arrived at the ninja tool shop. Uncle, I'm here to get the sword. Bai Yu shouted as soon as he came in. You're here. Haha. You're really anxious. The sword was just delivered yesterday. The uncle saw Bai Yu. He smiled and said. He turned and walked into the warehouse. He took out a long wooden box and handed it to Bai Yu. Bai Yu couldn't wait to open the wooden box. What caught his eye was the hilt and scabbard of the same black body. The long sword is very long. Bai Yu is now 1.6 meters tall. This sword must be 1.2 meters long. But when Bai Yu grows taller, it will be just right. Bai Yu drew out the long sword. Buzz, it has the sound of a sword ringing. Although the sword body is bright, it is a little grey, which should be the color of live steel. He pulled off another hair, put it on the blade, and it cuts it with a single blow. Good sword. Bai Yu nodded with satisfaction. Give this sword a name. Every famous sword has a name. I'll help you carve your name on the back of the hilt. The uncle smiled and said, just call it Bai Yu. The sword is named Bai Yu. Bai Yu said without hesitation. Okay. The name will be engraved quickly. Wait here for a moment. The uncle grabbed the long sword and walked to a small studio at the back. Chapter 18. Secret Sacrifice. Bai Yu waited for a long time. The uncle came out with a long sword. Here, little guest. You've been waiting for a long time. The uncle handed the long sword with his name engraved on it to Bai Yu and said with a smile. Nothing, uncle. I also want some chakra paper for making detonating talismans. Bai Yu said while holding a long wooden box. This thing is not easy to get during the war. And it's very expensive now. The uncle thought for a while and said, uncle, tell me how much it costs first. Bai Yu said, normally, blank chakra paper is enough for 5,000 taels. But now it costs 10,000 taels. Detonating talismans have risen to 30,000 taels per piece. The uncle said helplessly. Is that so? Then I'll buy 5 first. Bai Yu thought that he just wanted to practice anyway, so it didn't matter if he bought less. After shopping, Bai Yu bought a few more clothes, uniform grey and white robes, and a few formal clothes. He bought all kinds of lengths at once. By the way, there are also pens and ink. Bai Yu also bought some. After returning home, the first thing Bai Yu did was to offer a blood sacrifice to Bai Yu Jin. The blood sacrifice is actually very simple. It is to wrap the long sword with your own chakra and then integrate a drop of your own blood essence and some of your own mental power. Through the chakra tempering, the blood and mental power are completely integrated into the sword body. Bai Yu is in the yard. Put the wooden box on the table. Draw out the long sword and inject your own chakra into the long sword. The long sword is surrounded by the blue light of chakra and makes a sword sound. The speed of chakra transmission is very fast and the consumption of chakra is very low. Bai Yu smiled with satisfaction. This ritual will take 7 days. Bai Yu split into 2 shadow clones. One went to ask the teacher for leave and the other integrated the 5 attributes of chakra. The Bai Yu sword floated in the air and the visible chakra wrapped around the long sword. The sword body glowed with a trace of red light. This red light is Bai Yu's blood essence. At Sarutobi Shihiro's house, Bai Yu sat opposite Sarutobi Shihiro. The two sat in the living room. Does it take 7 days? If it takes 2 or 3 days, I can agree. If it takes 7 days, then the Hokage's handbook is needed. Sarutobi Shihiro thought for a while and said, however, you should go home and retreat. I will go to the Hokage to tell him. Sarutobi Shihiro then said with a smile. Thank you, teacher. Bai Yu originally thought that he would go to Sarutobi Hirozen again, but unexpectedly, Sarutobi Shihiro agreed to go in person. But you can't use the shadow clone to study in the future. There are only a few months before graduation. Take this time to make more friends. Sarutobi Shihiro said with a smile. Okay, teacher. Bai Yu was still a little embarrassed when Sarutobi Shihiro said it directly. Although the shadow clone can also learn, it is not the real body, and it always feels a bit like skipping class. After a brief chat with Sarutobi Shihiro, boom. The shadow clone dissipated. This brat. Sarutobi Shihiro saw that Bai Yu actually used a clone to come over, and the corner of his mouth twitched. What's more annoying is that Sarutobi Shihiro didn't even see it. Then Sarutobi Shihiro laughed. After all, one's students are great, and being a teacher is very proud. At Sarutobi Hirozen's home, is this child going to retreat? Sure. It will only take 7 days. Do you know what he is practicing? Sarutobi Hirozen said with a smile, while sitting in the study room, looking at Sarutobi Shihiro. Sarutobi Shihiro thought for a while and said, it is said that he is refining a ninja tool. To match his swordsmanship, he needs to use secret methods to refine it. Secret method to refine it? Yeah. Okay. I know. It's getting late. You should go home and rest early. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought for a while and said, "Yes, Lord Hokage." After that, Sarutobi Shihiro left. "Someone come here." Sarutobi Hiruzen said softly. "Swish, Lord Hokage." A masked Anbu ninja half knelt in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen. "Send a ninja who is good at hiding to see what Bai Yu is doing." Sarutobi Hiruzen said. "Yes." The Anbu ninja responded. Sarutobi Hiruzen waved his hand, and the Anbu ninja disappeared instantly. "Secret method?" Sarutobi Hiruzen said softly, and fell into deep thought. "Shikaku, why didn't you come today?" Even his clone didn't come. Akimichi Choza poked Narashikaku, who looked lazy, and asked, "Wait and ask the teacher." Narashikaku said lazily, "I don't know if he will continue to set up the stall tonight." Akimichi Choza said, after wiping his saliva, "I think you are concerned about whether you will set up the stall." Yamanaka Inu said helplessly, "This is only part of it. I still care about you." Akimichi Choza said hurriedly, "Choose, you are blushing." Narashikaku keenly noticed the process of Akimichi Choza's face turning red and returning to normal in an instant. Akimichi Choza swallowed back what he was about to say in an instant after being said by Narashikamaru. "Go ask the teacher after class," Yamanaka Inu said. Narashikamaru and Akimichi Choza nodded. Sure enough, he must be in seclusion. He didn't even open his stall. Looking at the empty stall of Bai Yu, Akimichi Choza shook his head and said, "Could it be that you, Choza, bankrupted you? He always ate and drank for free." Yamanaka Inoichi said jokingly. "Inoichi, how is that possible? Every time we didn't help. Apart from the skewers I ate, you still made a lot of money, okay?" Akimichi Choza hurriedly explained. "Didn't the teacher say that you would be back in 7 days? And he would come to class in his original form?" Narashikaku said leisurely. "I don't know how strong you is. Will you be stronger after this seclusion?" Yamanaka Inoichi said, recalling the sound made by Bai Yu when he practiced sword. "How strong is it? We will know after a try. We are the new generation of Inoshikacho after all." Akimichi Choza said passionately. "Are we going to fight one with 3 people?" Yamanaka Inoichi said embarrassedly. "Please, don't count me in." Narashikaku said lazily as usual. "Hokage's office. Hiruzen. We must control Bai Yu in our own hands. Even you don't know the secret method this time. Although he is Tsunade's apprentice. But he is still a person from another village who came to Konoha." Shimura Danzo said firmly to Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was sitting on the desk, rubbing his forehead and smoking. "Yes, Hiruzen. I think what Shimura Danzo said is right. People who have secret methods like this must be controlled in our own hands." Utatane Koharu and Mito Kadoen became Shimura Danzo's wingman. "Then tell me how to control Bai Yu," Sarutobi Hiruzen said with narrowed eyes. For the 3 old friends in front of him, even if Sarutobi Hiruzen was angry in his heart, he couldn't bear to punish them. Let them join the route. Keep them firmly under Konoha's control. Everything is for the village, Shimura Danzo said firmly. "Danzo, joining the route means controlling Konoha," Sarutobi Hiruzen said in a slightly serious and cold tone. "We are all old friends. Hiruzen, don't be like this. Danzo is just thinking about the village," Utatane Koharu said. "HMPH. Sarutobi Hiruzen stopped talking and in disguise gave face to Utatane Koharu. "I already have a plan for Bai Yu." Sarutobi Hiruzen thought for a while and said. In fact, he still hadn't figured out how to arrange Bai Yu. But he must not let Bai Yu join the root of darkness. "In this world, I'm God. If I want the world to have wind, there will be wind. If I want the world to be destroyed, the world will be gone." From the author's arrogant bragging *HAHA. Chapter 19 Survival Drill. How do you plan to arrange it? Joining the route is definitely the wisest choice. Shimura Danzo did not retreat, but chose to ask Sarutobi Hiruzen in a roundabout way. "Enough. Danzo, you are stretching your hands too far. I have said that I will arrange it freely for Bai Yu. Don't say anything more. You can go down," Sarutobi Hiruzen said firmly, and then turned his chair and stopped looking at the 3 old friends. Seeing this, Utatane Koharu and Mito Kadoen had to pull Shimura Danzo out of the office. "Hiruzen, you will regret it." Shimura Danzo once again failed to leave the Hokage's office. "Hey, they are all old friends. How can I bear it? Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted to clean up the power and energy in the hands of Utatane Koharu, Mitokadoen and Shimura Dunzo, but he kept thinking about the friendship of his old friends. After thinking hard and failing to figure it out, Sarutobi Hiruzen had to let it go first. After all, Hokage is not just about this incident. 7 days passed in a flash. Buzz the long sword in front of Bai Yu rang repeatedly. Collect. A dazzling light burst out from the long sword, and Bai Yu pointed at the scabbard. The long sword turned into a sword light, and returned to the scabbard in an instant. If his strength reached the level of shadow, he could definitely fly with the sword. The light disappeared. Bai Yu took a deep breath. He wiped the sticky hair in front of his eyes. He got up, and moved his body, that had not moved for 7 days. The blood and ki were flowing smoothly again, and Bai Yu felt better. He grabbed the Bai Yu sword and put it in the room. Then he took a set of newly bought clothes. He went into the bathroom. Regardless of whether it was cold or hot water, he directly rinsed his body. During the 7 days of not moving, his body was covered with dust and dirt. Bai Yu, who was refreshed after taking a bath, gurgle. His stomach began to make noises. Resisting hunger, Bai Yu made a lighter meal. Only then did he feel better. After 7 days of chakra output, Bai Yu would have been unable to hold on without Bailong's help. However, after Bailong's chakra, Bai Yu felt that his physical constitution had become a little stronger. Bai Yu released his clone. After receiving the memory, his eyes lit up. The attribute fusion was more than half completed. This is good news. At night, Bai Yu held the Bai Yu sword and practiced the Bai family's magic all night. The next morning, Bai Yu split into 3 clones, 2 of which set up stalls, and 1 stayed at home to fuse attributes. Bai Yu still danced with swords and ate breakfast as usual. But after eating, he went to school obediently. But he carried the Bai Yu sword on his back. Hey, you. Long time no see. Akimichi Choza walked to Bai Yu enthusiastically and greeted him. It's only been 7 days. Bai Yu saw Akimichi Choza and the other 2, and smiled and said, "You, why did you carry the sword over? Are you going to specialize in swordsmanship ninja style in the future?" Yamanaka Inoichi asked, when he saw the pure black long sword behind Bai Yu. "Not specializing in swordsmanship ninja style. This is my new weapon, and I'm getting familiar with it. So I carried it. It seems that there is no rule that prohibits taking weapons to school," Bai Yu said with a smile. "It looks expensive, doesn't it? Can I take a look?" Yamanaka Inoichi asked curiously. "Come and see. It's indeed a little expensive. 9 million taels. I've been heartbroken for a long time." Bai Yu handed the long sword to Yamanaka Inoichi generously and said with a pretended heartache, "Oh my god. Nice sword. But the style is a bit strange. Double-edged, with a pointed front. But it looks so domineering. You can tell at a glance that it has good lethality." Yamanaka Inoichi drew out the long sword and said in amazement at the grey-white blade, "This sword was made according to the style recorded in the ancient books in the village. In fact, there is a method of making it in the ancient books, but the village was burned down." Bai Yu said, "Nonsense. In fact, the Taoist classics used to record how to make a magic sword, but Bai Yu was too lazy to read it and didn't know it." Ding ling ling. "Class is starting. Hurry into the classroom. Our class is about to graduate. So we have to do the last training, which is also an assessment. Survival exercise. We have done this kind of training before, but this time it is a drill that completely simulates a real environment." As Sarutobi Shikiro said, the children in the classroom began to whisper, "You. The highlight is coming." Narashikaku leaned close to Bai Yu and whispered, "Isn't it just a survival training? What's the highlight?" Bai Yu said with some surprise, "Do you know that the Hokage has a technique that crystal ball can spy on a very far place, basically covering the entire Konoha village?" Narashikaku said with a glimmer of wisdom in his eyes. "Then, what does this have to do with the survival exercise?" Bai Yu asked, puzzled. "Let me tell you, in the past, survival training was all about surviving in one place for a few days. But the graduation survival exercise is different. This is an exercise that completely simulates the battlefield. I heard from my family that in this exercise, each team or individual will be given J pieces in the shoji. You have to keep the jade pieces while grabbing them. Whoever has more jade pieces will be the first. Narashikaku said. Then what does this have to do with Lord Hokage? And how do you know about such a thing? Bai Yu looked at Narashikaku with a suspicious look. My dad drank too much with Akimichi Choza's dad and Yamanaka Inoichi's dad yesterday. I overheard it. Choza and Inoichi went to bed early. Narashikaku said awkwardly at first. Hokage has always attached great importance to this exercise. This is considered a combat simulation training. People who perform well are equivalent to excellent talents and will be reused in the future. I heard that Hokage would take the initiative to watch the battle in the past, but the third Hokage has a crystal ball, so he can watch it in the office without restraint, and he will be very detailed. So, the highlight is coming. Narashikaku said afterwards. Do you feel valued? Bai Yu asked. No, now is the Second Shinobi World War, and it seems that the situation is getting more and more intense. The graduates of the previous class have already been sent to the battlefield. Graduated ninjas who are not valued are destined to be cannon fodder, and only ninjas who are valued can live and make achievements. Do you understand what I mean, you? A trace of reality and wisdom flashed in Narashikaku's eyes. I understand. In my eyes, there is no difference between being valued and not being valued, but the way of making achievements is different. However, I know you have your own ideas. As for the survival exercise, you arrange it, and I'll listen to you. Bai Yu said with trust in his eyes. You. Narashikaku said solemnly. Alright. You tell me what to do, and I'll do it. We're all men. Don't act like a little girl. Bai Yu said unhappily. Alright, this exercise is different from the previous ones. You have to choose to form a team or act alone. If you form a team, you have to send one person to receive the exercise instruction scroll and exercise related items. If you act alone, you can come to me now to receive it. After receiving it, go home and adjust for 2 days. After 2 days, gather at the designated location in the scroll. Sarutobi Shihiro said loudly. Seeing Sarutobi Shihiro's actions, we know that this exercise is also a preparation for the allocation of ninja teams in the future. Chapter 20. The exercise begins. There is no system to say how many people are in a team. So Bai Yu, Narashikaku, Akimichi Choza, and Yamanaka Inoichi successfully formed a team. Now Bai Yu, with swordsmanship alone, can be compared to the genin. The ninjas of Chunin cannot win with swordsmanship alone in terms of physique, experience, and speed, but when Bai Yu uses chakra, his strength is comparable to that of a special jonin. To deal with jonin, with the amount of chakra of the genin now, it is not enough, lacking mana. The strength of the Dharma Eyes determined by the chakra level. With the amount of chakra of the genin, the Dharma Eye can only use the strength of the genin. In fact, sometimes, Bai Yu wondered whether he should study a star absorbing technique. But this is just a thought. But he could never think of it. After finalizing the battle plan with Narashikaku, Bai Yu went home to practice. Bai Yu is not like others who can only refine chakra once a day because of the special nature of Bai's method. Bai Yu can practice hard all the time, of course, only the body can practice. After returning home, he ignored the clone who was practicing the fusion attribute. He sat down on the bed and started practicing. 2 days passed quickly. The location in the scroll was the Death Forest. The entrance location and time for each team or each person were different. When Bai Yu and the others arrived here, they were checked by Sarutobi Shiki to see if they had any extra food or other unfair equipment. Bai Yu was a ninja who was proficient in swordsmanship, so Bai Yu carried the Bai Yu sword on his back. Sarutobi Shiki didn't say anything. Instead, he urged them to enter the forest quickly. You go ahead with the original plan. You sense the enemies around you. I will use the shadow to control them. Narashikaku and the others rushed into the forest. Narashikaku changed his previous laziness and had a wise look on his face. Yoshi. Bai Yu was infected and began to take it seriously, but it was Narashikamaru who took the lead in being serious. In fact, according to Bai Yu's current strength, there was no need for any tactics for these ninjas who had not yet graduated. All conspiracies and tricks were rubbish in front of absolute strength. Exclamation mark. Dharma Eye. Open. The pupils deep in Bai Yu's eyes instantly turned into black and white patterns. The Teikai pattern was slowly rotating. In an instant, the sky and the earth changed color and were divided into two areas. The trees exuded green vitality, the blue chakra in the bodies of Orochimaru and others, and several blue chakras in the distance. The farther away, it became blue and red, just like thermal imaging. The higher the temperature, the redder the color. Nothing can escape within 100 meters. Shikamaru, southwest direction, 50 meters away, a team! Exclamation mark. 3 people, Bai Yu said while running. Received. Hey Ding Zeduo. The Nera clan, the Yamanaka clan, and the Akimichi clan have formed a pig, deer, and butterfly combination for generations. At this moment, in Bai Yu's eyes, this generation of the pig, deer, and butterfly lineage has already revealed the style it should have. Soon, Bai Yu and others caught up with the team. Ninjutsu. Heart-shaking martial arts. Yamanaka Heiai used the family secret technique on the 3 people in front. Hurry up, I can't hold on for much longer. At this time, Yamanaka Inoichi was only a genin. This ninjutsu was to control a large number of enemies to kill each other, so Yamanaka Inoichi could only control the enemy for a few seconds. Shadow imitation technique. Choza. Neroshikaku successfully controlled one person. Yoshi. Partial multiplication technique. Akimichi Choza's right hand instantly grew several times larger. He grabbed one of the people. Ninjutsu. Hard turn technique. Yamanaka Inoichi successfully transferred his mental power into the enemy and controlled the enemy. Bai Yu caught Yamanaka Inoichi's body. The tactic was successful. Inoichi, hurry up, find the J-chess. We still have to find the next one. Neroshikaku said with a smile on his face. Found it. Yamanaka Inoichi controlled the enemy and searched around the others and successfully found the J-chess. Release the secret technique. He ignored the resentful eyes of the 3 members of that team. The 4 people left to cool back. Next. 30 meters to the north. Acting alone. Bai Yu said. Yoshi, I'll leave this to you. You. Neroshikamaru said with a smile. Okay. Bai Yu replied. The 8 extraordinary meridians burst out with lightning chakra, and the whole body was covered with blue electric current. This is Bai Yu's usual style. Because the whole body is covered with lightning attribute, the speed is really fast. This is the second day of the survival exercise. During the middle, Bai Yu felt countless times of being peeped from outsiders. This is probably the crystal ball of Sarutobi heroes and mentioned by Neroshikamaru. Shikaku, Yu's move is so handsome. Transformed into blue lightning. Akimichi Choza said with a smile on the side. This move is not as simple as being handsome. Neroshikaku said with wisdom in his eyes. Oh, is there any deeper meaning? Yamanaka Inoichi asked. It's very profound. As far as I know, only the 3rd Raikage of the Kumogakure has a move called Lightning Release Armor. It can spread lightning chakra throughout the body, stimulate cell activity, enhance physical fitness, enhance defense, speed and destructive power. Especially when the lightning release chakra is concentrated at one point, the destructive power is terrifying. But I heard that this ninjutsu can only be taught by words and deeds, because there are many secrets. If outsiders want to practice, they will be useless if they are not careful. So far, no outsider has been able to learn it. If the Hokage knew that you would have this ability, it would be fine. However, if people from other factions knew, you would be in danger. Neroshikaku said with deep meaning in his eyes. Ah, then should I remind you? Yamanaka Inoichi said. I must remind him. But I guess you would say so. Neroshikaku paused at this point. He imitated Bai Yu's usual expression and smiled indifferently. If you know it, then know it. I'm not afraid of people knowing, if I can use it. TSK. Neroshikaku was still a young man at this time, and he still had some young people's humor. Really? Akimichi Choza said in surprise. Hey, Yu is back. Wait a minute. Remind him and see how Yu answers. Neroshikaku looked at Bai Yu who ran back with a J-chess piece in his hand, and pursed his lips and said. What are you talking about? So serious? Bai Yu asked with a smile. That your secret method of thunder attribute chakra all over your body. Akimichi Choza repeated Shikaku's analysis just now. Then he waited for Bai Yu's answer. Not only Akimichi Choza, but Yamanaka Inu also looked at Bai Yu, and Narashikaku looked at Bai Yu to confirm what he said. If you know it, then know it. I'm not afraid of people knowing it, if I can use it. TSK. Then Bai Yu gave everyone a nonchalant smile. Oh my god. Shikaku. Akimichi Choza looked at Narashikaku in surprise, and then Narashikaku smiled triumphantly, and turned and ran away. Akimichi Choza also ran away. Yamanaka Inu seemed to realize that he had to run, but a strong hand pressed his shoulder. Bai Yu said with a strange smile, "Hey Ai, what were you talking about me just now?" Helplessly, Yamanaka Heiai told Bai Yu what happened just now. Haha. Good analysis. Bai Yu looked at the backs of Narashikaku and Akimichi Choza with a strange smile. He turned into a blow lightning and rushed up. Yamanaka Heiai had no choice but to follow. Chapter 21. Did I dig up your ancestral grave? You can't do this. You can't do this to me. I didn't participate. I just listened quietly for a while. Bai Yu smiled and looked at the three boys in front of him who were frozen in front of him with terrified faces. Shikaku, you are very good at analysis. Analyze whether I will take off your pants. Bai Yu said with a kind smile. Watching Bai Yu slowly approaching, Narashikaku felt like he was being insulted. If you have anything to discuss, let's discuss it here. Don't be like this. The fear in Narashikaku's eyes deepened again. But Bai Yu noticed that Akimichi Choza and Yamanaka Inoichi were laughing secretly. And Choza, you also guess. Bai Yu still had a kind smile on his face. Woo. Akimichi Choza's greasy face trembled slightly. Why am I here? Yamanaka Inoichi asked hurriedly. You participated. You watched. You didn't say anything, which proves that you are also curious. Bai Yu said with reason. Yamanaka Inoichi wanted to explain, but he was really curious. Bai Yu approached Narashikaku with a smile. When Narashikaku felt that he was about to despair, Bai Yu took action. No, Narashikaku roared, but he felt something different. Don't you want to be untied by me? Bai Yu looked at Narashikaku playfully and said. No. Haha, misunderstood. Narashikaku said awkwardly, touching his head. In fact, Bai Yu wanted to untie several people. Bai Yu untied Akimichi Choza and Yamanaka Inoichi casually, looked at Narashikaku with a strange expression and said, you don't really think I will take off your pants? Who would like to see a little earthworm? Earthworm. A little earthworm. This sentence was endlessly repeated in Narashikaku's mind. Bakeiro. Bastard. Whose earthworm is that? Narashikaku shouted angrily. Pachi. No wonder you don't want to take a bath with me. So that's why. Don't worry, I won't discriminate against you. Yamanaka Inoichi smiled and patted Narashikaku's shoulder. You are a stuffy man. Narashikaku angrily said. Little earthworm, I'm a stuffy man, I admit it. But I'm not like you, hiding it for so many years. Yamanaka Inoichi said with a serious face. I am not a little earthworm. I will take a bath with you next time, but I'm just too lazy to move. I always take a bath at home. Narashikaku said with a flushed face. Okay, I know everything. Yamanaka Inoichi looked like he understood, which made Narashikaku vomit blood. Then Narashikaku, who was unable to defend himself, looked at Bai Yu with a face full of resentment. Why are you looking at me? Do you still want to be frozen? Tell me the next action plan quickly, little earthworm. Bai Yu said unhappily. 2 days have passed. Judging from the jade chess pieces we have snatched in the past few days, I can be sure that we already have the most. If the total remains unchanged, there is no point in snatching more. The exercise will end tomorrow afternoon. Find a place to hide your wins and rush to the designated location at the appointed time. If someone comes to our door, we will wait for him. When talking about business, Narashikaku was still very serious and calm. Well said, little earthworm. Bai Yu couldn't help but say after hearing this. The originally serious Narashikaku collapsed in an instant and looked at Bai Yu with an expression as if his mother had died. Lead the way. What are you waiting for, little earthworm? Bai Yu patted Narashikaku, who looked resentful, and said unhappily. Narashikaku led the way silently without saying a word. a ninjutsu similar to the third Raikage's lightning release armor, a pair of black and white patterned eyes, powerful swordsmanship, an unknown new taijutsu that can freeze the enemy's movements. Sarutobi Hiruzen, no wonder you don't want Bai Yu to join the route. Such a talent must be in the hands of the route. If we can't get him, we have to destroy him. Everything is for the village. In the dim office, Shimura Danzo looked at the root ninja who was reporting the situation in front of him, and said in a low voice, "Continue to monitor Bai Yu's movements." Shimura Danzo said coldly, "Yes. Go to Sarutobi Hiruzen for the last time. If he disagrees, you have to go directly to Bai Yu. If he disagrees, don't blame me." Shimura Danzo's eyes flashed with a fierce light. He slowly stood up and walked towards the Hokage building. This time, the first place is won by the group of Bai Yu, Narashikaku, Akimichi Choza, and Yamanaka Inoichi. The survival exercise ended. A summary meeting and commendation meeting were held. Under the hateful gazes of everyone, Bai Yu and his companions went on stage triumphantly to receive the commendation. That night, several people who had finished the exercise gathered at Bai Yu's stall to celebrate. After the exercise, they got 3 days of vacation. This time, we will definitely be taken seriously. Absolutely. Narashikaku said to Bai Yu with a little excitement in his eyes. It's not important whether we are taken seriously or not. What's important is the individual's ability, or the power of the team. The iron must be hard itself. Bai Yu pulled a skewer and said indifferently, "Ha. That's right." After saying that, Narashikaku once again returned to his previous lazy look. After eating and drinking, Narashikaku and his companions said goodbye to Bai Yu, and Bai Yu walked home silently. Anyway, there were 2 clones at the stall. At this moment, a root ninja appeared in front of Bai Yu. "Bai Yu, come with us. Danzo wants to see you." The root ninja's tone was a little cold. The first thing that cannot enter the root is to annihilate human nature and cut off the 7 emotions and 6 desires. "No, who is Danzo? I don't know him. Don't stop me. I want to go home." Bai Yu also said in a cold voice. "Do you know the meaning of not going?" The root ninja continued. "I don't know. I don't want to know. Are you sick? You just popped out and said someone wants to see me. I have to go with you? I have to see any cats and dogs? Wouldn't I be busy every day? Besides, if you ask me to go, I will go. Don't I have face? Let that rice ball come to me by himself." Bai Yu said ruthlessly. "It's not the rice ball, it's Danzo." The root ninja said in a cold voice. "Ah, the rice ball is dirty, right? If the rice ball is dirty, either wash it or throw it away. Get out of here quickly. Otherwise, I will get angry, and I'm afraid of myself." Bai Yu said disdainfully while picking his earwax. "Then let me ask you, will you join the root?" The root ninja continued to ask in a cold voice. "No. What the hell is the root? Do you want me to join any garbage organization? What if it succumbs one day? Do I have to join it?" Bai Yu said very directly. "Since you don't want to see or join, don't blame me." The root ninja took out a shuriken and threw it at Bai Yu. Fire style, fire dragon flame bomb. The root ninja quickly formed a seal the moment he threw the shuriken and spit a fire style at Bai Yu. Seeing this, Bai Yu's face changed. "Jonin. Shimura Danzo, right? Did I knock on your coffin? Send a Jonin. Shimura Danzo, you thief. Did I dig up your ancestral grave?" Amid the series of embarrassing Chinese curses that came out of Bai Yu's mouth, Bai Yu cursed, but he couldn't just sit there and wait for death. He summoned the white feather sword with his backhand. Damn it. What a mistake. If I had studied a few ninjutsu, wouldn't I have to be so embarrassed? As the saying goes, sharpening a spear before a battle is better than being quick. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22, The Shock from Sarutobi Hiruzen. Bai Yu quickly recalled the ninjutsu scroll that Tsunade had given him. The power of a ninjutsu depends on the change in the chakra attribute. The speed of performing a ninjutsu depends on the subtle changes in the chakra route during the performance of the ninjutsu. Lightning escape, ground walk. Bai Yu successfully used a ninjutsu of the Chunin level to exert the power of a jonin. The earth was instantly thundering and lightning, and electric currents rose upward. Instantaneous body movement. Bai Yu knew that for a jonin, although this technique was more powerful, it still could not hurt him. Soon, the root ninja dodged the lightning escape and ground walk. Bai Yu used an instantaneous body movement and approached the root ninja. Momentary beauty. An exquisite sword technique, as if there was only a sword light between heaven and earth. Bai Yu was blessed with lightning chakra all over his body, and his speed and attack power were blessed. A sword stabbed the root ninja's eyebrows. Puff. Bai Yu frowned, and the root ninja who was stabbed instantly turned into a piece of wood. Wind escape. Big breakthrough. The root ninja who used the substitution technique at some point attacked Bai Yu with another ninjutsu. 1,000-pound drop. Bai Yu's body was in the air just now to defeat the root ninja. But Bai Yu was no ordinary person, a skill from a big country, and his body landed quickly. HMPH. Although he dodged the ninjutsu, a wind blade still passed through Bai Yu's shoulder. Damn it. You force me to do this. Dharma Eye. Open. Little. Just when Bai Yu was angry and wanted to open the Dharma Eye to release Bai Long, an Anbu ninja appeared in front of him and faced Bai Yu. Bai Yu, the Hokage wants to see you. Please come with me. The tone of the Anbu was much better than that of the inhumane guys in the root. You can't take him away. Without waiting for the root ninja to finish, the Anbu ninja drew out the short knife behind him, and a flash of white light appeared. My order is to take Bai Yu to see Lord Hokage. The tone of the Anbu ninja was completely different from the tone he used to talk to Bai Yu just now, full of murderous intent and coldness. Konoha White Fang, Hatake Tsukumo. Humph. The root ninja left a sentence and gradually disappeared. Come with me, Bai Yu. Hatake Tsukumo looked at Bai Yu and said with a slightly softened tone, are you the Konoha White Fang who dominates the ninja world? Bai Yu asked curiously as he walked. Although the identity of the Anbu is kept secret, it seems that my attack methods can always expose myself. My name is Hatake Tsukumo. Hatake Tsukumo said awkwardly. I heard that Hatake's swordsmanship has reached the top level. How about it? Do you want to give me some advice? Bai Yu said excitedly. You know, fighting with a master, the speed of improvement is like riding a rocket. Haha, you little brat is interesting. Wait until you see Lord Hokage. I will return to the village to report this time and stay for a few days. Hatake Tsukumo laughed twice and said. Hatake Tsukumo is a relatively kind person, of course, only to his own people. While walking and chatting with Hatake Tsukumo, they soon arrived at the Hokage's office. Hokage-sama. Hatake Tsukumo and Bai Yu said respectfully. Hokage-sama, this is the mission briefing. Hatake Tsukumo handed Sarutobi Hiruzen a mini scroll and said. Tsukumo, you've worked hard. Go home and rest first. Come back tomorrow. Sarutobi Hiruzen patted Hatake Tsukumo's shoulder and said with a smile. Yes, Hokage-sama. Hatake Tsukumo said respectfully. He knew that Sarutobi Hiruzen had something to say to Bai Yu alone. So without hesitation, he turned around and left the Hokage's office. You're injured. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned as he looked at the bloodstain on Bai Yu's shoulder. It's a minor injury, nothing serious. It's just that the wound is too small, and I'm too lazy to use medical ninjutsu. Bai Yu said with some indignation on his face. Damn it, he was persecuted by his own people in his own village. Yu, as the third Hokage, I'm helpless about some things. I hope you can understand me. Sarutobi Hiruzen said helplessly. It's just some dirty things between you higher level people. If Master Hatake hadn't arrived in time, I would have killed that guy from the root organization. Then I would have found that dirty rice ball and cut him into pieces. Did I dig up his ancestral grave? He actually wanted to kill me. Damn it. Bai Yu said fiercely. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Bai Yu, who was always gentle, and cursed at this time, and his resentment towards Shimura Danzo deepened a bit. Don't worry. Yu, I will deal with this matter. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile. But I don't know what Sarutobi Hiruzen was thinking. Well, Hokage, I'm sorry, it's a bit rude. I was also angry. What's the matter with you calling me here? Bai Yu felt better after hearing what Sarutobi Hiruzen said and said respectfully, well, you are hiding it well, kid. Tell me about it. What's the matter with your ninjutsu that looks like the lightning armor and your physical technique that can freeze people? Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile while looking at Bai Yu, who had returned to normal. What lightning armor? It's just a kind of use of chakra. It can only increase the speed and the destructive power and penetration of the lightning attribute chakra. Strictly speaking, it's just a kind of physical technique. As for the physical technique that can freeze people, I call it acupuncture. It uses chakra to block chakra from passing through the acupuncture points, blocking the blood and ki, making people not only unable to use chakra, but also unable to move. However, acupuncture also has a time limit. For example, it will be unblocked after half an hour. If you mobilize chakra to flush the acupuncture points, the time will be shorter. Chakra is alive, and blood and ki are also flowing. Bai Yu said indifferently, I really don't know what you think in your little head. You can really figure it out day by day. Can those techniques be widely used? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Bai Yu and said with a complicated look, if it is widely used, it is probably impossible. According to my observation, there are many meridian points in the human body. It takes a long time to master and be familiar with them all like me. Moreover, if the changes in chakra properties are not mastered to a certain level, guiding chakra through the meridians will cause the meridians to be unable to withstand the power of chakra, which will damage the meridians at the least and cause muscle weakness and paralysis of the whole body at the worst. Bai Yu thought for a while and said, if possible, I hope you can record these skills in the book of sealing. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Bai Yu and said solemnly, sure. Record it. Oh, by the way, I also have a sealing technique, which I call the talisman technique. Based on the sealing technique, I comprehended it myself. I will show you. Bai Yu said indifferently. Oh, use it for me to see. Sarutobi Hiruzen heard this and immediately became interested, and he didn't go home. Bai Yu nodded, then took out a blank chakra paper and wrote a string of ghost talismans on the chakra paper with the pen and ink that Sarutobi Hiruzen used to practice calligraphy. The process is very simple, and it was completed in one breath. Then Bai Yu walked in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen. He put the talisman on his body and stimulated it with chakra. It's done. Bai Yu smiled and put the pen and ink back to its original place, saying casually, why don't I feel anything? Sarutobi Hiruzen said suspiciously, can you still move? Bai Yu smiled kindly. Why? Why can't I move? Chakra. I can only use a very small amount of chakra. Sarutobi Hiruzen used chakra to control his body, like a robot, slowly tearing off the talisman on his body. At the moment of tearing it off, his body returned to its original state. Sarutobi Hiruzen pondered for a while, and then his eyes burst into unprecedented shock. You know, he is now a cage level strongman. If it were a ninja at the level of Jonin, wouldn't this be a sure thing? Coupled with the skills that Bai Yu has studied during this period of time, Bai Yu brought Sarutobi Hiruzen surprises, like a surging river, endless. Chapter 23, Promotion to Chunin. Then Bai Yu generously wrote down his various skills in the seal book. Then a talisman was used to seal it. Yu, why do you want to seal yourself? Sarutobi Hiruzen was watching Bai Yu write, and he was quite absorbed in it. Who knew that he saw some familiar patterns, and the talisman spread rapidly in an instant to cover the content of Bai Yu's abbreviation. Sarutobi Hiruzen was anxious. I'm thinking of helping you seal it. Your seal has too many flaws. It's okay, don't thank me. Bai Yu smiled sincerely. Thank you, Sarutobi Hiruzen cursed in his heart. The words were too asterisk, and the author consciously muted it. You just sealed it like this. How can I see it? Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a black line. Hey, you should have said it earlier. You are like this. Bai Yu told Sarutobi Hiruzen the solution to the seal and a method of temporarily opening it. Well, this is for you. This is the identity certificate of Chunin. There is also a Chunin forehead protector and a ninja uniform. Sarutobi Hiruzen took it out from a seal scroll and said with a smile. Shouldn't I be a genin? How can I skip a level? Bai Yu was happy in his heart, but he still asked. You wrote the skills you researched into the Book of Seals, which is your contribution. Besides, based on the strength you showed in the exercise, although you concealed something, you have already reached the strength of a Chunin. Therefore, I will appoint you as a Chunin of Konoha in advance. Starting tomorrow, you don't have to go to the ninja school. As for your subsequent arrangements, I'm still considering it. You can practice at home first. Anyway, you can make money by setting up a stall, so it doesn't matter if you take the task a few days later. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile. Bai Yu thought Sarutobi Hiruzen was a good person. Little did he know that the merits contributed by Bai Yu could be directly promoted to a special jonin. Not to mention that the chakra runs through the meridians throughout the body. The acupoint pressing skills are comparable to the physical skills of the Hyuga clan, and there is no need to cooperate with the pupil technique as long as you are familiar with the acupoints of the human body. And those talisman techniques are simply the sublimation of the sealing technique, omitting the tedious process and simplifying the large-scale runes. I can only say that Bai Yu is still too naive. In fact, Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted Bai Yu to be promoted to Chunin, but it was just an idea because he was not sure whether Bai Yu's will of fire still needed to be tempered. However, Bai Yu wrote his research results into the Book of Seals without hesitation, and Sarutobi Hiruzen made up his mind. But even if he knew, Bai Yu would not care. Even if you can learn the power that Bai Yu has now, Bai Yu will still grow. Moreover, as for money, Bai Yu is a person from the 21st century. If he casually gives you a pyramid scheme, I guarantee that your land of fire will be turbulent for several years. Bai Yu took the forehead protector, certificate, and ninja costume given to him by Sarutobi Hiruzen and returned home. He casually threw the ninja costume in an inconspicuous corner. Who would like such a low vest? And after reaching the rank of Jonin, you can even wear the forehead protector or not. Cut. The next day, the news that Bai Yu was promoted to Chunin spread throughout the village. The Hokage's office. Danzo, what are you doing? Why are you spreading the news? Sarutobi Hiruzen said with his face flushed with anger, slamming the table. Didn't Bai Yu get promoted to Chunin? Isn't this a good thing? What's wrong with being more ceremonious? Shimura Danzo said calmly with a hint of coldness in his eyes. Bai Yu is because of his contribution to the village. His chakra is only at the level of genin. You. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, while looking at Shimura Danzo with gritted teeth. So that's how it is. I mean, well, I want to boost Bai Yu's popularity. Hey, why didn't you tell me earlier? Shimura Danzo's acting was so weak. You. Humph. Forget it. You go back first. Sarutobi Hiruzen said helplessly. Upon hearing this, Shimura Danzo left silently, except for the door of the office, with a sneer on his lips. Ninjas who don't join the route, especially those who enter Konoha from other villages, can't be controlled, so they can only be strangled. Everything is for the village. Shimura Danzo said silently, and then walked back to the route underground base. Shimura Danzo, you really made a good move for me. You put me here. Except for the necessary posts and the personnel who stayed in Konoha, all Chunins must enter the battlefield. Bai Yu, For a moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't know what to do. Covering his forehead, he silently took out his pipe. The whole room was filled with the smell of tobacco. You. Congratulations. Inoshikacho, who came after hearing the news, woke up Bai Yu and congratulated Bai Yu. But Narashikaku's eyes flashed with the same look. Has this matter spread? Originally, I thought that the Hokage would not make this public. Isn't it just writing a few ninjutsu that I studied myself into the sealed book? That's it. Really? Bai Yu rubbed his eyes and said, what sealed book? Didn't your strength pass the test and reach the Chunin strength, so it was specially improved? Yamanaka Inoichi asked with a puzzled look. Hearing this, Narashikaku finally confirmed his thoughts. Oh. Lord Hokage can't possibly announce my strength. However, my chakra is only at the level of a genin. Bai Yu scratched his head and said, you've been tricked. Narashikaku said calmly. Shikaku, how did you get tricked? Akimichi Choza asked curiously. Because the person who announced Bai Yu's promotion to Chunin was not Hokage. in the village, the only ones who can grasp the information so well and announce the news at the first time, apart from the Anbu, are the Root. The Root is a department that hides deeper than the Anbu and is only loyal to Shimura Danzo. Narashikaku said. Shimura Danzo? Who is this guy? He wanted to kill me last night. He is a ninja from the Root. Bai Yu said speechlessly. Shimura Danzo is the advisory elder of the Hokage and the supreme leader of the Root. Narashikaku said with a flash of worry in his eyes. This old extremely poor guy. A damned bastard. Wait until I have a chance to kill him. Humph. Bai Yu said with a murderous look on his face. Anyway, I did get promoted to Chunin. I'll have a barbecue to celebrate in the evening. As for the daytime, there's nothing to do anyway. Let's go out and play. To be honest, I haven't had a good time in Konoha village yet. Bai Yu said with a smile. Originally, Bai Yu just wanted to take a good look around Konoha village. But he didn't expect to be dragged by Narashikaku and a few others to play for a day. He experienced a day like a child. But fortunately, Bai Yu went to all the places he should visit. And an idea came to Bai Yu's mind. That is to make money. As the saying goes, a horse can't run fast without eating grass. A bird can't grow well if it doesn't get up early. So, you have to make money. Take the chakra paper used for making talismans, for example. Can you afford it without money? You can't hang out in the casino every day, right? Chapter 24, Konoha Skewers. Do it when you think of it. Seeing the prosperous area, Bai Yu silently took note. He continued to wander around the village with Narashikaku and the other two without a care in the world. In the evening, at Bai Yu's stall, Akimichi Choza said goodbye to Bai Yu with satisfaction. Yamanaka Inoichi and Narashikaku also walked slowly with their round bellies and said goodbye to Bai Yu. Narashikaku took out a toothpick from somewhere and held it in his mouth. Bai Yu silently closed the stall with his clone. Returning home, Bai Yu practiced all night. The next day, he practiced swordsmanship as usual. However, when Bai Yu was having breakfast, there was a knock on the door. Bai Yu drank a mouthful of porridge and ran to open the door. He saw a fully armed senior ninja standing at the door. Are you Bai Yu? The ninja asked. I am. Who are you? May I ask what can I do for you? Bai Yu asked politely, looking harmless. Here is a letter for you. Lady Tsunade said you should write it yourself. Now that the letter is delivered, I'll take my leave. The Jonin handed the letter to Bai Yu and turned to leave. Oh, good. You've worked hard. Thank you. Bai Yu replied. The Jonin waved his hand and turned to leave. From an angle that Bai Yu couldn't see, a strange smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Why would Master write to me? Look at the handwriting and chakra seal on the envelope. It is indeed from Master. Bai Yu took a closer look and muttered. I'm very pleased to hear that you have been promoted to Chunin. But the war is urgent, and I can't go back to celebrate for you. Seeing this, Bai Yu felt warm in his heart. Continue reading. At some point, the Sand Village suddenly increased its troops, and the surrounding small countries also participated in the battle against Konoha. The Master is going to participate in an extremely dangerous mission. I hope you can study the technique that the Master left for you and carry it forward. Take care, Master. Bai Yu was extremely sure at this time that this letter was written by the Master to him. After all, no one knows the jutsu left for him except the Hokage. Bai Yu looked worried. But now is a time of war, and ninjas cannot leave the village at will. Oh, helpless. I can only give up. I hope Master can survive safely. How is it? The chakra on the letter was backed up before it was modified. After the modification, did it reveal any flaws? Two root ninjas talked on a big tree next to the Senju ancestral house. Don't worry. Everything is done. Let's go back and report. As for this, the root ninja said confidently, looking at the original letter in his hand, and burned it to ashes with a wave of his hand. The two root ninjas went back to report. Congratulations on your promotion to Chunin. You are worthy of being my apprentice. You have made my master proud. Hurry up and send 1,000 taels of silver to my master. Roll the dice with these guys from the medical logistics department and lose all the money you gave me. Otherwise, This is the original letter that was burned. Bai Yu temporarily put away his worries and walked to the Hokage's office. Yu, you're here? What's the matter? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Bai Yu with a kind smile on his face, but he felt helpless in his heart. Hokage-sama, I want to open a store. The location has been chosen. I want to ask about the rent. Bai Yu said with a smile. Open a store? Why do you suddenly think of opening a store? Sarutobi Hiruzen was stunned when he heard the words, thinking that Bai Yu didn't want to be a ninja anymore, right? Money. I want to make money. Otherwise I can't buy much chakra paper and some ninja equipment just by setting up a stall. Bai Yu said helplessly. Is that so? Where do you like? Sarutobi Hiruzen felt relieved and asked with a smile. I'm scared to death. It would be a pity if you don't study ninjutsu. It's here. Bai Yu handed the note with the location he carefully selected to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the note. He smiled and said to Bai Yu, Yu, you have a good eye. There are no vacant shops at this location, but there is a poorly managed barbecue restaurant across the street that has closed down and is for rent. The location is here. Sarutobi Hiruzen took out an exquisite map from the drawer, spread it on the table, and pointed it out to Bai Yu. Bai Yu took a look and the location was okay. Hokage, how much is the rent? Bai Yu asked. Well, deduct it from your merit points. No rent is required. This is a title deed. You just write your name on it and register it with the relevant department. It's a benefit for you. Haha. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was extremely generous. Boy, you have too many merit points. I will help you deduct them. You should know that the ninjutsu that can be recorded in the sealed book are all top-notch ninjutsu. If you write one, you can brag about it for the rest of your life. Thank you, Hokage. I wonder how many merit points I have. Bai Yu asked. Ahem, this. Didn't you just get promoted to Chunin? The statistics are still being counted, but this is enough. You will know later. Okay, hurry up and register. The sooner you register, the sooner you can start decorating and make money. Sarutobi Hiruzen said hurriedly. Bai Yu had to leave. After leaving the office, Bai Yu always felt that he was cheated, but the carefree Bai Yu chose not to care. The relevant departments gave Bai Yu face, and the registration was very fast. Tsunade's apprentice, the grandson of the third Hokage, and the youngest Chunin. After everything was done, Bai Yu summoned his 3 friends. Narushikaku, Yamanaka Inoichi, and Akimichi Choza came together to help. You, can I participate in the shares? Narushikaku said with wisdom in his eyes. And me. X2 Akimichi Choza and Yamanaka Inoichi obeyed Narushikaku's ideas unconditionally. Of course you can. But can you represent the family? Bai Yu said, touching his head. We, the Inoshikacho clan, are different from other clans. So we have every right to speak. Don't worry, I only own 10%. Narushikaku said with a smile. Me too. X2. Well, then. Since that's the case. We are brothers. I won't do useless things with you. The 3 of you will share the decoration fee. The 3 of you will share the purchase of ingredients, drinks, and utensils. The 3 of you will be responsible for the recruitment of waiters. The chef just needs to know how to grill meat. I will be responsible for the core technology and barbecue ingredients. How about it? Each of you will own 10%. Bai Yu said with a smile. Narushikaku's mouth twitched. It seems that Shikaku is not so thoughtful. However, in Narushikaku's eyes, the kebab shop is definitely a popular shop. Okay. Narushikaku said with gritted teeth. Okay. X2. The name of the shop is Konoha Chuanchaangxiang. The rest is up to you. I'll go and prepare the barbecue ingredients. Let's prepare the ingredients for half a year first. Bai Yu was so happy. The shop doesn't cost money, and there's no need to worry about decoration. You don't have to worry about anything. You just need to get some barbecue ingredients and give some advice to the chef. You know, the essence of skewers is all in the barbecue ingredients. Although you need to pay attention to what kind of meat to use, what kind of oil, and what kind of heat is it necessary in this world. Before Bai Yu came, were there barbecue skewers? Was there this great catering project of skewers? Today's update. Vote. Comment. Throw it hard. I'm not afraid of thick skin. Haha. Chapter 25 Chakra Attribute Changes. It has to be said that big families are efficient. I don't know how Narushikaku and his family negotiated with their families. In half a month, a barbecue restaurant of 300 square meters was closed in an instant. 5 waiters, all of them were beautiful and well-built young ladies. Even the chefs were very good looking and wore uniforms. Narashikaku, Akimichi Choza, and Yamanaka Inoichi were waiting for Bai Yu in the store at this time. "Shikaku, why is you so slow?" Akimichi Choza swallowed and asked. "Chos, you are greedy. Ever since Bai Yu wrote an advertisement for his stall, you have been urging the construction of the kitchen." Narashikaku looked at Akimichi Choza speechlessly and said lazily, "It should be soon. The time is not up yet. You has no habit of being late." Yamanaka Inoichi said, "Oh, it's well done." Bai Yu's voice reached everyone's ears. Bai Yu looked around. The decoration is Japanese style, clean and tidy, and the uniforms are also very feel. The front desk, food freezer, etc. are very beautifully placed and decorated. "You are finally here. You. Hurry up and teach the chef how to grill skewers." When Akimichi Choza saw Bai Yu, he instantly turned into a meatball and bounced beside Bai Yu, saying anxiously, "Don't worry. Let me say a few words first. Everyone sit down." Bai Yu said with a smile. Akimichi Choza had no choice but to sit with Yamanaka Inoichi and Narashikaku. The staff and chefs all looked at Bai Yu, Narashikaku and others with curiosity. In their eyes, Bai Yu and others looked a little younger. But in this world that matures very quickly, they are just a little younger. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Bai Yu. Let's talk some nonsense first. That is, work hard and never complain. Bai Yu smiled. Next, let me talk about something useful. First, no matter how busy the store is in the future, you must be enthusiastic and treat customers who come to the store like family members who come home. Second, I don't know how much salary Shikaku, the calculating guy, will pay you. In the first month, you will be paid according to the salary Shikaku said, which is equivalent to a probation period. During this period, everyone will also get familiar with it. In the second month, if there are no major problems, the salary will be doubled. Third, it is very critical, that is the membership system. There are silver membership cards, gold membership cards, and diamond membership cards. How much money do you recharge for the silver membership card? Enjoy a 10% discount. How much money do you recharge for the gold membership card? Enjoy a 20% discount. The skewers are free on the day of recharge, but drinks are not free. How much money do you recharge for the diamond membership card? Enjoy a 30% discount. Everything is free on the day of recharge, and the second meal is also free. As for how much money to recharge, it's all thanks to Narashikaku. Well, that's all I have to say. After Bai Yu finished speaking, he was greeted with warm applause from the staff. They were very happy about the salary increase. Who can't draw a pie in the sky? Anyone will be happy if they can scoop out the soup directly after drinking it. Moreover, the spirit of eating skewers is to drink and eat skewers. Eating skewers without drinking is soulless. After hearing Bai Yu's words, Narashikaku's eyes lit up first. He had already realized the meaning of the membership card system, which was to quickly collect funds. However, when he heard that Bai Yu assigned the task to him, his face was in pain. What a trouble. Narashikaku said helplessly. You are the only one who has a good brain. If not you, who will decide? Cut. Chef, follow me. I will teach you how to grill skewers. Bai Yu said to Narashikaku with disdain, and then smiled, and said to the chef with a pretty good appearance. Okay. The chef said respectfully. After all, he is working for others. Coming to the back kitchen, Bai Yu looked at the configuration and nodded. It's a pity that such a clean kitchen stove will turn black after a few days of baking. You used to be a chef who grilled meat, right? Bai Yu asked. Yes. Okay, grilling skewers means cutting meat into small pieces and putting them on skewers to grill. However, the key is to sprinkle the seasoning. While ensuring that the meat is cooked, the seasoning must also be integrated into the meat. Vegetables and the like are easy to handle. Some people brush them with sauces, and some sprinkle them with sauces. I will teach you how to grill skewers. I think you will be able to apply the method after you know it, right? Bai Yu said. The chef nodded and agreed. For such things, practice makes perfect. Bai Yu skillfully burned charcoal, then took a bunch of skewers from the refrigerator and evenly spread them on the stove. Sizzle. The sound of the meat being grilled and oil coming out was heard. Then, Bai Yu took out a scroll and took out some barbecue seasoning from it. There were spicy, non-spicy, and sauces. After a meal of operations, the freshly grilled skewers were divided into 4 plates. "Come on, taste it," Bai Yu said with a smile. "Okay." The chef smelled the aroma of the meat and his appetite had been aroused. Hearing Bai Yu's words, he couldn't wait to start eating the skewers. The chef's eyes widened when he ate the first skewer. After the chef finished eating, Bai Yu told the chef some more things about grilling skewers and asked him to try grilling a few waves. At the end of the grilling, Bai Yu had to admit that the chef who knew how to grill meat was really quick to get started. Then Bai Yu left a few sealing scrolls with barbecue ingredients in them and handed everything to Naruto. Bai Yu left, leaving behind Naruto with a black line on his face, Yamanaka Inoichi who helped, and Akimichi Chozo who was eating skewers crazily. "Damn it. You actually threw everything to us," Naruto said helplessly. More than 10 days ago, Bai Yu and Hatake Tsukumo had a swordsmanship exchange, and Bai Yu was sure that, as long as his chakra could keep up, the power of the swordsmanship would definitely increase exponentially. Because Hatake Tsukumo's swordsmanship is a ninja swordsmanship that uses chakra to increase power. The reason why Bai Yu left in a hurry was because his perception of attribute changes had been loosened. As a Taoist priest in his previous life, he was very familiar with this kind of sudden enlightenment. Keeping this mysterious feeling, Bai Yu went home quickly. He sat directly in the yard, sat on the ground, relaxed his mind, and embraced Yuan-ie. The first thing he realized was the frequently used lightning attribute chakra, which represents power, with superb speed and penetration. The fire attribute represents destructive power, and the scorching flame will burn everything. The wind attribute represents extreme sharpness, which is endless, compressing the power of the wind and cutting off all obstacles on the way forward. There are many changes in the yin and yang attributes. The shadow of the Nara clan belongs to the yin attribute. The secret method of reincarnation belongs to the yin attribute. Illusion also belongs to the yin attribute. All products of nothingness belong to the yin attribute. According to Bai Yu's understanding, the yin attribute represents the spirit, and the yin attribute chakra represents spiritual power. Think about the Uchiha clan's Sharingan. But by the way, why didn't Uchiha Inohiro look for Bai Yu again after that time? You know, the Uchiha clan is an extremely proud family. Ahem, I'm getting off topic. Yang attribute represents the body and vitality. The first Hokage of the Senju clan, Hashirama Senju, can obtain the immortal body, split cells, and achieve self-healing ability with the help of Yang attribute chakra. And with the vitality of Yang attribute, he saved many people. Of course, there is also power. You know, Hashirama Senju's power is enough to fight against the tailed beasts. For a moment, Bai Yu's perception of the changes in chakra attributes deepened rapidly. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.